I would like to announce that a quorum is present. The meeting is duly called, and a notice of the meeting has been posted in accordance with the Texas Open Meetings Act. The time is 6 p.m. The following board members are in attendance: Catherine Sells, Dr. Buddy Bonner, Sheila Taylor, Allison Lasan, Michelle Akateb, Dr. Stacy Barker, and Jenny Prosnick. I've asked board member Allison Lasan to lead us in prayer.
Please join me if you would like. Heavenly Father, we come before you today seeking your presence and guidance as we gather for this meeting. We know that the topics we are about to discuss may stir strong feelings and differing opinions, but we ask for your wisdom to guide us through these challenging conversations. Grant us the patience to listen to one another with respect and the grace to speak with kindness. Help us to remember that above all, we are here to serve our students, our families, and our community. May your spirit of peace rest upon this meeting, calming hearts that may be anxious or upset, and opening minds to seek common ground for the greater good. Remind us that even in our differences, we are all working toward the same goal, the success and well-being of every student in our care. We lift up to you the students, staff, and families who may be affected. Let our actions reflect your love and compassion. We pray this in your holy name. Amen.
Please join us in the Pledge of Allegiance and the Texas Pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
The next item on the agenda is a presentation on the boundary lines adjustments and school retirements for the Marcus High School feeder. I understand that administration has a presentation this evening. Following that presentation, we will move on to the next item, which is public comment and receipt of feedback on this information. So first up is Dr. Rapp to provide the information.
Yes, thank you. All right, let's try that again. Good evening, everyone. We thank you so much for being here this evening. We appreciate you taking the time to engage in what is a absolutely very important topic for our community. We know that there is no tougher conversation to open up in a community than that of what is resulting from a declining enrollment situation. So very humbly tonight, I bring forward the details of a proposal that would ultimately address the enrollment decline that we are seeing happen in Louisville ISD. We peaked in enrollment in 2016-17 at 53,000 students. And we are now currently at 47,000 students, and our demographer projects that over the next 10 years, we'll be at about 44,000 students, and typically we fall actually a little bit less than what the demographer projects. So that could be anywhere between 44 to 43 to 42,000 students. And because in the state of Texas, the school funding formula is based on how many kids you have, as your enrollment declines, that definitely impacts the amount of funding that you have as a district. And so this proposal tonight addresses, first and foremost, the enrollment decline that we are seeing in our school district. During our fast growth period, our school district built a lot of schools. And so now we're on the other end of that continuum, having to go back and take a look at all of the schools that were built during that fast growth period and how much capacity we have versus the enrollment that we currently have and are projected to have over the next 10 years. This proposal also addresses the current and projected utilization of space in neighboring schools. These proposals are by feeder pattern as they take a look at schools within the feeders. And we know ultimately, because our staffing models are based on enrollment, when a school has anywhere from 540 to 550 students or more, a school gets access to additional specials classes and additional counselors and assistant principals. And that makes the experience for our students across our district sometimes vary at the elementary level when one school has specials that another school does not. We also know with the current economy that we have to take a look at how much it costs to operate the number of buildings we have as costs continue to rise. And then we also know ultimately if a decision is made to retire any schools that our school board has several options available to them. That could be repurposing buildings or leasing a building to generate additional revenue or selling the land or the building to generate additional funds. So this school retirement proposal regarding Higland Village Elementary, the retirement of Higland Village Elementary impacts the neighboring schools of McAuliffe and Heritage. Students at Higland Village, McAuliffe, and Heritage all currently are zoned for attending Briar Hill Middle School. And this retirement proposal would continue to ensure that students continue on to Briar Hill and to Marcus High School. In the early 2000s, Higland Village Elementary had 450 plus zoned students. It now has 276 zoned students. McAuliffe has a capacity to hold between 573 and 726 students depending on the use of open classrooms. As our enrollment has declined across the school district, classrooms have begun to be used in different ways. Classrooms that once held a class of 22 learners at a grade level. Heritage can hold almost over 1,000 students depending on the use of classrooms as well. This proposal does not displace any current students who are zoned for McAuliffe or Heritage or any students currently attending these schools on a transfer. So the new projected enrollment for McAuliffe Elementary with this proposal would be 629 students. Its current enrollment is 507. In the early 2000s, McAuliffe had a student enrollment of over 600 students when our school district was in that fast growth time period. It currently has 358 zoned students. With this larger enrollment, as I said, staffing models, the larger your enrollment, the additional specials that you get. So the school would have a STEM specials rotation. And again, current students zoned to McAuliffe Elementary would remain zoned to McAuliffe. For Heritage Elementary, the new projected enrollment is to be 736 students. In the early 2000s, Heritage had an enrollment of over 750 students, and it currently has 364 zoned students. This campus already has an additional STEM specials rotation since it serves some of our pre-K students. Students who are currently attending Higland Village on a transfer in this proposal would be given a transfer space at Heritage Elementary. If a family was not wanting to utilize that transfer space given at Heritage, then they could apply to transfer to a different school within our school district or return to their zoned neighborhood campus. With this larger enrollment, there would also be another specials teacher added, along with additional counselor and assistant principal. Current students zoned to Heritage Elementary will remain zoned to Heritage Elementary in this proposal. It is not uncommon in our school district that over time, not associated with the retirement of a school, we do have to relocate special education programs. At the elementary level, we do not have every special education program that we offer at all of our elementary schools. And so we understand when you relocate a special education program, we are aware that you need to work on keeping the students and the staff together in those programs. And so with the relocation of this proposal, it is proposed that the BIC classes at Higland Village would be relocated to Heritage, and the ALS programs at McAuliffe would be relocated to Heritage. So the new boundary map for the Marcus feeder with these changes, Higland Village is divided up between the purple section that would be proposed to go to McAuliffe, and then the light tan section that would be proposed to go to Heritage. There is also a boundary adjustment proposal that we're putting forward to the community, and that is for Downing Middle School. This proposal would change the Downing Middle School attendance zone. It would impact the neighboring elementary of Flower Mound Elementary. It would address the low efficiency assessment score of Downing Middle School. The optimal capacity for Downing is 865 students, and the current enrollment is 503 and is forecasted over the next 10 years to be somewhere between 500 and 600 students. Currently, Flower Mound Elementary is a split feeder between Downing Middle School and Lamar Middle School. And so this proposed boundary change would have all students from Flower Mound Elementary School zoned to Downing Middle School. So the new projected enrollment at Downing would be 634 students. This would be the area east of Long Prairie Road and west of Morris that would now be zoned for Downing. Students who are currently sixth graders at Lamar that could be impacted by this zoning to Downing would be able to request a transfer to stay at Lamar for their seventh grade year. And then according to board policy, students who are currently in seventh grade and would be going into eighth grade would have the option to continue attending Lamar or to attend the new school their area is zoned for, which would be Downing Middle School. Any siblings that are related to a rising eighth grader that's grandfathered to stay at Lamar, in this case, would also be able to stay as well. So this proposed boundary map on the left, it shows the Flower Mound Elementary proposed boundary, and then on the right, it shows the changed proposed Downing Middle School boundary, the pink section that is there on the left that was currently in the Lamar boundary would now be the section that would be proposed to move to Downing Middle School, but belongs to Flower Mound Elementary. We are putting all of these listening tours on the internet, so this is being recorded this evening. It will be posted to the CEC website. Our proposal presentations are, of course, already available to everybody on our website as well, and we will be sharing all of our follow-up communication as we gather up all of the input and feedback that is happening across all of these listening tours, and we will post that for the entire community to see also. And Madam President, with that, I'll close my presentation.
Thank you, Dr. Rapp. Public comments are next on the agenda. The sole item on our agenda today relates to potential boundary line adjustments and school retirements in the Marcus High School feeder. We are here to listen to your feedback and input about this specific topic. Comments on other topics or about potential changes in other high school feeders will not be permitted at this meeting. We are here to listen to you, but please understand that we're not able to respond directly to comments or questions posed by speakers. I know that many of you have stepped away from your evening responsibilities to be here and give your input. And we understand that your time is valuable. To ensure that we can get to each speaker within a reasonable period of time, the following procedures will apply to public comment. Each speaker must have registered to speak online by 12 noon yesterday, Wednesday, November 13th. Speakers who registered online should have checked in with the staff by 6:30 p.m. and received an assigned number indicating the order they will speak. If you have not checked in, you will need to check in now. I will call speakers up to the microphones in numerical order. This is the odd microphone over here. This is the even microphone. We will hear comments first on potential boundary line adjustments. Once those comments are complete, we will hear comments on potential school retirements. Each speaker will be given 3 minutes. When your number is called, please make your way to the front. We will call speakers up 2 at a time so that the next speaker is ready to move to the podium when their turn comes. Please respect each speaker's opportunity to be heard and for the board to hear them, and refrain from any disruption during or in between speakers. Return to your seat once your time has expired so the next speaker can get to the podium. Please limit your comments to the potential actions directly impacting schools in the Marcus High School feeder. We ask you to focus on your campus only and refrain from disparaging or negative remarks about other campuses. Please be courteous and respectful to others in making your comments. Finally, We want to thank each of you for being here. The sole purpose of this meeting is to share information with you and to hear your input about these important issues. We love that you love your schools, and we are very appreciative of those who have reached out to the board and staff via email or other means to express themselves respectfully about these difficult issues. For each speaker, I ask that before you start speaking, you state your name. Speakers 1 and 2. I like the technical help.
Yes.
You may begin.
My name is Riley St. Germain. I'm speaking for my wife who signed up, Marie. We have 3 boys that all go to McAuliffe. Our middle son is in 2nd grade. He was born needing multiple surgeries. In the middle of his brain is a little bit thinner than normal. So because of this, he has a delay. Not sure if that's my phone, sorry. He has a delay that requires him to be in the ALS program, which possibly will be moved to Heritage. We're asking you not to move the ALS program or close Highland Village Elementary for that reason. So we started out at Timber Creek, or he started out at Timber Creek in the pre-K program, got moved to Flower Mound Elementary into their ALS program. We've been fighting. We had fought to get him to McAuliffe, which is closer to our house. The Flower Mound Elementary ALS program then closed and was going to be moved to Bridlewood. After spending 2.5 hours on the bus every day, we said this is enough. We're not doing this. Requested McAuliffe. We ended up getting all 3 of our boys into McAuliffe finally, and now the possibility of having all 3 of them in different schools again. Our youngest in McAuliffe, our middle at Heritage, and our oldest now at Briar Hill. So logistics, I go to work early. My wife has to now make three school drop-offs every single day. So our middle son would have to start all over again. Now this is, again, a child that doesn't look like all the other children. He has a harder time making friends. He has awesome friends at McAuliffe. Very good support system, which to credit to the district, you guys hire awesome teachers that we are confident at Heritage you will have that same support group. But we'll lose the friends that he has gained over the last 2 years. In the presentation, it was stated that no students would be displaced from McAuliffe, but a program would. Well, that program has our son in it, who is one of the students. So that's about all I have. So I appreciate it. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Speaker 2.
Good evening, members of the school board. My name is Jessica Nunley. I'm here tonight to express my deep concern and strong opposition to the proposed move of the academic life skills class from McAuliffe Elementary to Heritage. You mentioned in your MHS feeder pattern proposal that no single elementary school houses all of the special education programs that LISD offers. My assumption is that's for a reason. The administrative burden on diagnosticians, counselors, therapists, teachers, paraprofessionals, and administration would be too time-intensive to give each child the attention they need and deserve. How can we ensure our children will not become victim to an overworked and overburdened school with the proposal of moving 2 special education classrooms to Heritage along with the ECSE class that is already there? Consistency is a cornerstone of effective special education. Our children thrive on routine and predictability. Changing schools, especially for a child with high special needs like mine and the previous child mentioned, can be incredibly disruptive. It can lead to increased anxiety, behavioral challenges, and setbacks in their educational progress. McAuliffe has been a home to the academic life skills class for close to 19 years. It's a familiar environment where our children feel safe, supported, and understood. The entirety of McAuliffe, from the front office personnel to teachers, aides, staff, administration, and even the students, have a deep understanding of our children's unique needs and have consistently provided excellent care in education. Neurotypical children have a plethora of choices when it comes to schools and extracurriculars. Special education students, unfortunately, have very limited options for academics and extracurriculars. This proposed move further restricts their choices and limits their opportunities for success. We can't even apply for a transfer if there's not a class available for him to stay at McAuliffe. I understand that decisions like these are complex. However, I urge you to consider the impact on our children and prioritize the needs of our most vulnerable and undervalued students. McAuliffe Elementary is proven to be the right fit for our children for almost 2 decades. It's a place where they feel safe, valued, and empowered. While I know that the ALS classroom may be a very small group, I implore you to prioritize their needs. They deserve the same opportunities and support as any other child. I respectfully request that you reconsider this decision and keep the special education class at McAuliffe. I truly believe my child's success depends on it.
Thank you. That concludes the speakers for the boundary adjustments. I'll now be calling up the speakers and recording to the retirement. Speaker 4 and Speaker 5. Three did not show up. You may proceed, Speaker 4.
Okay. Hi, my name is Dan Rasoy. I'm a father, and I can tell you that closing down a school upends a family to an extent that probably you are not going to be able to understand. There could be single mothers who are going to have to change their morning routines. They could be losing their jobs. The impact on kids who have a hard time going to school could be also major because you will throw them into a different environment and it'll increase their anxiety. This is a people business, right? We are your constituents. We are your customers. The number one consideration for this should be, what is it going to do to people, children and families, right? Now, I have a question for you, right? You mentioned that these moves are necessary because the enrollment fell from 53,000 to 47,000, right? Which is a drop of 11%. I looked at historical budget of LISD, and from 2019 to 2024, the instruction budget increased from $290 million to $328 million this year, which is an increase of 12%, right? So I'm trying to think, is it incompetence or negligence when you are faced with a decrease in population of 11%, yet you plan the salary up by 12%? And now you are coming and asking us, you are asking to uproot families, right? So there's a $44 million gap right there that somebody on this board voted and approved, okay? The math doesn't add up. 11% enrollment, 12% increase in salaries. Please help me understand that. Additionally, last year we asked us for hundreds of millions of dollars for athletic facilities, right? Because football, building a stadium that's open 3 months out of the year is more important than families, right? And people whose life you're going to upend and you're going to mess up because you failed to be good stewards of our money. 11% decrease in enrollment, 12% increase in student payrolls. Please help me understand How does that make sense? It doesn't. Thank you.
Speaker 6, please make their way to the podium. Speaker 5.
Thank you. My name is Aaliyah McGill, and I'm a parent of a first grader at Highland Village Elementary and also a senior here at Marcus. My family moved in 2023 during the summer to a neighborhood across the street from Highland Village Elementary, so my incoming kindergartner could attend Highland Village Elementary for her entire elementary career. As a homeowner who put a large investment into our home so she could go to a specific school for her entire kindergarten career, or her entire elementary career, I feel really disheartened that the board would try to make this decision right now. I don't understand the speed of it. I feel like this decision has come very quickly without backup for why it's so fast. I feel like giving us some kind of notice for a potential for, not this coming school year, but the following school year would have been a better plan than saying immediately this is for next school year. I understand budgets, I work in finance, but to me that doesn't make sense. And the thing I want to point out is that Highland Village Elementary is surrounded on all sides by homes. There is no vacant land around the school. It is all homes, is residential. Those homes all feed into that school, and most of the children who attend the school either walk or ride to school. For my family specifically, moving her to McAuliffe would make a particular hardship on us because my husband and I both use Highland Village Elementary we drop her off and we go on our way to work in the morning. And without that immediate access, because we both work directly off of 35, so without that access to the school, we would have to both backtrack and go all the way over to McAuliffe to drop her off. And that takes how much time out of my already very busy morning routine? And we have planned specifically to live in this home so our daughter could go to this school because this meets our family's needs. And we paid a significant amount of money more to have our house close to the school so that would all fit together. And now I just feel like if you close this school, the homeowners around the school are also directly impacted. How do you make up for that? How do you tell a homeowner that all of a sudden your home has significantly less value because there is no school attached to it? So please take that in consideration as well. I feel like you owe at least the residents and homeowners that much as well. So thank you for your time. I appreciate it, and I appreciate all the responses that you have given us over this time. Thank you.
Thank you. Will Speaker 7 please make their way to the podium? Speaker 6.
Good evening, trustees, Dr. Rapp, and community members. My name is Charlotte Wilcox, and I have the honor of serving as Highland Village Mayor. In addition to my role as the mayor, I am deeply connected to this community as a realtor for over 20 years. Tonight, I'm here to express my deep concerns about the proposed closure of Highland Village Elementary, a decision I believe will have lasting impacts on our city. First, on behalf of our community, I want to express our appreciation to you as our elected officials and leaders of our district. Your transparency and willingness to listen to our voices have not gone unnoticed. We understand these are challenging decisions, and we know that you do not take them lightly. Thank you for your dedication and commitment to our schools and our community. I don't stand here before you tonight and even pretend to understand the funding formula that the state uses or even your budget. But what I do know is Highland Village is a close-knit community covering just 6.4 square miles. Within this small but vibrant area, every institution is a vital part of our identity. The closure of Highland Village Elementary would mean losing more than just the building. It would mean losing the only elementary school on the east side of our city, a central part of community life for many of our roughly 16,500 residents. The closure would affect 33% of our area, a concentrated burden unlike that felt in any other part of the district. The symbolic loss is significant, but there's also practical concerns. If Highland Village Elementary closes, its students will be reassigned to 2 nearby schools. The shift will bring added traffic congestion, particularly during peak hours, which will create new challenges for families, staff, and commuters alike. We must consider how this increased traffic could impact the safety and efficiency of our roads. Although the school can accommodate more students, the surrounding infrastructure may struggle to handle the increased volume, especially along FM 407. Addressing this congestion would require additional resources, which could put a strain on the city's budget. Another serious concern is what will happen to the empty building. Situated away from the main feeder roads, it is not ideally suited for retail or commercial use. An unoccupied building in our city could become a target for vandalism, creating a need for increased security and police presence. This would add pressure on our public safety resources and may divert attention from other critical areas in our community. As a realtor, I know how vital a local school is to property values and community appeal. Losing Highland Village Elementary could diminish both. In closing, I respectfully urge you to pause this decision until after the upcoming legislative session. This isn't about postponing the inevitable. It's about giving our residents, parents, and local officials the chance to advocate for increased funding for our public schools. We need the opportunity to work together to secure the resources necessary to maintain our schools and find solutions that support our students and community alike. As many of you have shared, if the state had increased per-student funding, we wouldn't be facing this dilemma to this extent. Highland Village Elementary isn't just a school. It's a core.
Thank you, Mayor. The speaker at 8, please come up. Speaker 7, you may begin. Speaker 7, you may begin.
Good evening, Dr. Rapp, LSD Board, various faculties and administration, invested parents, and neighbors. Thank you for your time and for giving me the opportunity to share from my heart. You have a very hard decision ahead of you, and I want you to know that me and my family are praying for you, that the God of heaven and earth will grant you wisdom, discernment, and peace. My name is Coy Crawford. I'm in the 4th grade at Highland Village Elementary. Tonight, I'm here to respectfully request that you keep my school open. It may make sense on paper to cut cost here, but you will be losing a lot of value by cutting our school. Highland Village Elementary School is a valuable asset to this community because HVE creates community. My family and I moved here 2.5 years ago from Mississippi. Mississippi is called the hospitality state because the people value community, hard work, family, and making people feel right at home. So while I may be young, I know hospitality when I see it, and I know what hospitality can do to build a community and create a home. Mississippi was the only home I had ever known until I came to HVE. All of my family, friends, and teammates are from Mississippi, and moving here has been the hardest thing that's ever happened to me. I think about it all the time. My first year here was really hard. I was an outsider, I talked different, I used different words, and I didn't know anyone. But Miss Mitchell, Miss Diglia, Miss Archer, and so many others went out of their way to make me feel at home. I also have ADHD, so I can be a little hyperactive at times, especially when I'm nervous and scared. But my teachers didn't see me as a hyperactive and disobedient kid. I wasn't just a number at a big school to them. They knew what was going on. They saw that I was scared and really lonely and that I didn't know what to do. They welcomed me and gave me grace and love. They helped me start making a new home here. Soon, I started making friends. Now I ride my bike to school so I can go to Turpin Park on the way home from school and play football with my friends. I had to leave my family, then HVE became my family. My little brother Cal has special needs and he had heart surgery last year. HVE wasn't just there for me this time. They were there for my whole family. They did all this for me, so I know they'll do this for hundreds and thousands of other kids. They create community because they make this a place where we can feel safe and seen. This is why you can't close our school. HVE is a valuable asset to this community because HVE creates community. My name is Coy Crawford, and I'm proud to be an HVE Viking. I respectfully request that you keep HVE open and find other places to cut costs. Life is good at HVE. Thank you.
Thank you. Speaker 9, please make their way down. If you continue to hold long applauses, you are only going to cut into the speakers' times and our inability to hear from them. So I would ask respectfully for you all to let the speaker speak and let the board hear. Ladies, you may continue. Speaker 9 may make their way to the podium.
My name is Haley Mitchell, and I'm dyslexic, and it was hard for me to read and write this. I want to be at HVE for my last year of school. I want to be there with Miss Murphy as much as I can until I move on to middle school. I feel safe at HVE, and I want every kid to have a turn to get to go to 5th grade. Every teacher loves and cares about me. I love all the teachers at HVE.
Hi, my name is Kylie. I've been at HVE through 2nd through 5th grade. I was very nervous to come up here and speak in front of all of y'all, but I would do anything for HVE. I'm here to talk about HVE and how it has impacted me through all the years. My 2 little sisters went to HVE. My little sister Riley loves her class and loves her teacher. She's having the best time in kindergarten. My other sister Haley loves going to school every morning and seeing all the teachers who just help her every day when she needs it. Before I moved to HVE, I went to 2 other elementary schools. When I started at HVE, I was so excited to go to school again because my teachers loved me and they were so great. I just want to thank a couple teachers, Miss Phillips, Miss Murphy, and Miss Sturmeyer. I want to thank Miss Phillips for everything that she has done. She's always helped me get caught up on my work. She always made learning easier for me. I want to thank Miss Murphy because when I was going through a hard time, she always asked how she could help. She helped me learn so much in 2nd grade. When I was in 2nd grade, I went through something no child should ever have to go through. Miss Murphy and every other teacher at HVE made me feel loved every day when it was a bad day. I also want to thank Ms. Sturmeyer. She's always made learning fun to go to school every day. I want to be able to go back and walk through HVE and when I graduate like every other LASD student got to do. Thank you.
Excuse me, were you number 10?
I was number 8.
You were number 8. Okay, just making sure. Sorry. Would number 10 make their way down? Ma'am, you may go.
My name is Lindsay Denahue, and I'm here with my husband Stephen and our 2 boys, Wyatt and Jacob, who proudly call themselves Highland Village Vikings. Highland Village Elementary has been far more than just a school for us. It's been a community, a family, a place where my boys have been able to thrive. I tell people all the time that we hit the jackpot with this school. I wish I would have done so much more because my kids, all the kids at HVE, Mrs. Mitchell and her dedicated staff are worth it. But who knew I needed to? Who knew any of us needed to? Who knew we'd be here tonight, pleading before you in 3-minute increments, asking you to keep a place open that already has so much meaning in all of our lives? Wyatt is in 2nd grade this year with Mrs. Murphy, and Jacob is in kindergarten with Mrs. Hogan, both of which are remarkable women, which is no surprise because the truth is I've never met a staff member at HVE who isn't dedicated, passionate, and genuinely happy to be part of this school. And that's what makes Highland Village Elementary so special. It's a place where Wyatt and Jacob feel valued, where they are known, seen, and given space to shine. In a world where I feel I have so little control anymore, I should at least have a say in my kids' education and the care they receive when they're not with me. My husband and I believe deeply in the education Wyatt and Jacob receive at Highland Village Elementary, and we're committed to what we know is best for them, not for what someone else has decided will be fine for them. Elementary years are some of the most formative in a person's life, shaping their education, social lives, and moral character. These years are critical, and our children deserve a place where they're more than just a number, where their voices are heard and their growth is encouraged. Highland Village Elementary is that place. If we wanted our boys at a larger school, we would have transferred. If we wanted a specialized STEM program, we would have chosen one. But we chose Highland Village Elementary because it's a place where the staff has the ability and the passion to nurture them, treat them as individuals, and keep them or help them grow in ways that are meaningful and unique. That's what we want for our kids, a true educational community, not just an institution. To say I don't like public speaking is an understatement, but here I am because I feel I have no other choice. I'm here tonight because I believe in Highland Village Elementary. I believe in Mrs. Mitchell, her incredible staff, and every child in our school community, and I will fight with everything I have to keep it alive. I understand that this is a difficult decision, but it doesn't feel like it's being made for the right reasons. These decisions affect real people, real kids whose lives and education depend on it.
It's hard to see how the educational needs of our children are being prioritized when education itself wasn't even a determining factor in the decisions so far. At the end of the day, our kids trust us, the adults in their lives, to make the right decisions for them, to do what's best and fight for them any way we can. So here I am fighting for Wyatt and Jacob, for every kid at Highland Village Elementary, and for all the kids in these schools that have been reduced to a short list. They're more than that. We all are. So I ask you to please reconsider closing Highland Village Elementary.
Thank you. Would Speaker 11 make their way down? Ma'am, you may begin.
My name is Alex Mitchell. I'm the parent of 3 daughters, one of whom has graduated from HVE and 2 who are currently attending 4th and kinder. I'm also a Louisville High School graduate, having attended kinder through graduation at Parkway, Southridge, Durham, Killow, and finally LHS. I am an LISD lifer. I spend a significant amount of time volunteering at HVE. It is an absolute privilege and honor to get to spend my time serving our students, staff, and parents, serving our community. The school has become a safe space not only for my children, but for me as a parent. I struggle to write this because what could I possibly say that you haven't heard a million times? I understand you have difficult decisions, but it feels like you pulled the rug out from under us. According to the long-range plan introduced in the 22-23 school year, we are more than on track to meet the long-term goals introduced in regards to budget by the board sitting before me, but your plans change, and you expect us not to feel blindsided. Well, we do, and no amount of clarity or wordsmithing will change that. There truly is no place like HVE, and every time I have made that statement, I have been met with one crucial comment from several of you. It is not the 4 walls that make Highland Village Elementary special, and to that I say, you are absolutely right. It is not that building we are fighting to save. It is our community. It is the collection of educators and staff that have been so carefully and thoughtfully procured over the years. That building means nothing without the people inside. My children are thriving at HVE. My oldest attended 2 elementary schools prior to HVE, one in LISD that were not even close to the caliber of education or love she received at HVE. As she mentioned, she went through a horrifically tragic event at 7 years old. Miss Murphy and the entire school rallied around not only her, but our entire family. Every person in that building knew her name. Every adult in that building showed her love, kindness, and compassion on her darkest days. She was not one of 700 students. She was not a dollar sign. She was a living, breathing child and absolutely treated as such. This has brought so many HVE families together. Driving through our neighborhoods and seeing signs and ribbons tied to our trees has been nothing short of inspiring. I do not feel like part of one LISD right now. However, I do feel like I am part of Highland Village in a big way. Angie Hogan, Elizabeth Montanaro, Amy Cannon, Amy Collinsworth, Megan Codd, Katie Dang, Shanna Murphy, Stacy Archer, Jocelyn Maldonado, Shelley Fletcher, Sandra Kazara, Sarah Regan, Megan Bodine, Leslie Goodrich, Haley Pyle, Shelley Durmeyer, Abby Duvac, Jill Blackwell, Randy Morgan, Melissa Snap, Risha Phillips, Dawn Slozik, Heather Robinson, Paula Brunner, Sarah Travis, Maria Riviera, Josie Kilgore, Cassie Scheibelhut, Dana Conway, Beth Chapin, Terry Navarro, Carrie Pearson, Bonnie Gibson, Carol Stewart, Leah Cotton, Michelle Murray, Steffi B, Vanessa Diglia, and Leslie Mitchell. I stand up here to fight for what they have collectively created. I am proud to know that each and every single one of these amazing women has impacted and shaped my daughter's lives in so many ways. I am proud to be a Highland Village Viking.
Thank you. Will Speaker 12 make their way? Ma'am.
My name is Rachel Loesch. I moved to Highland Village less than a year ago with my husband and our 2 little boys. We're an example of the families with young kids who are increasingly moving to this neighborhood because of this school. After over a year of research, touring schools in multiple districts, charter schools, private schools, and learning about homeschool and enrichment programs, we chose Highland Village Elementary as a school that met all the characteristics we felt would set our son up for success. A place where teachers genuinely care about each child, where all of the staff would know his name, and where he wouldn't feel lost in a sea of hundreds of strangers. We purchased a home in walking distance from the school and made sure we settled in before our oldest started kindergarten to avoid him needing to change schools, since we're aware of how much change affects the educational and emotional development of young children. My son, who in preschool said he had a stomach ache and was nervous every morning, is thriving. When he started HVE back in August, we hoped for the best and prepared for the worst in terms of his adjustment to kindergarten. He came home that day and every day since, eager and excited to go back the next day. He loves school, and because of that, he loves learning. I've been blown away with how much I've witnessed his confidence in himself and enthusiasm about going to school grow since the day he started. Professionally, I've worked in vocational education for over 15 years as an educator, campus director, and regional director where I oversaw 9 schools. Through this experience, I learned that the determining factor of a school's success is the most difficult part to achieve. It's the internal culture created by leadership and emulated by everyone. The culture is represented by the students taking pride in their school, being excited about what they're learning, and having a strong sense of belonging. This is only attainable through teachers who feel valued and supported by their administration, allowing them to truly enjoy teaching and caring for our children. Everyone has to work in sync, and it's not easy to reach. The result of this positive and productive environment is reflected in the academic achievement of the students, the support of the community, and by the parents here today pleading to keep this special school that's allowing our children to flourish. HVE is an example of what every school should strive to be, a neighborhood school at the center of the community, delivering a high level of education where people feel welcome and at home. Retirement of this campus will be an irreplaceable loss of a school that's truly getting it right. In a time of increasing doubt in public education and the availability of alternative options, closing this highly effective campus would clearly send the message that the best interest of the student is not a priority of LISD, which I sincerely hope and believe is not the case. Thank you.
Thank you. Will Speaker 13 make their way? Speaker 12.
My name is Ryan Ritter, the numbers guy, as some in the HVE community have called me. Tonight, though, I'm not focused on numbers, but a warning. During a pre-K parent-teacher conference, my parents were given advice from a massive advocate of public schools that she never thought she'd give. My hometown district wouldn't sufficiently challenge me. They should send me to private school. And so I never went to school in my community and with my neighbors, and thus never really kept my childhood friends. The quality of education that my boys receive in their community at HVE is as good, if not better, than what I received at private school at their age. I don't believe I received what my pre-K teacher envisioned until I attended high school at Dallas Jesuit. Quite frankly, it was the first school I went to that echoed what I see at HVE, retaining and recruiting quality teachers, counseling for students, requirements for the arts, and superb leadership. At Jesuit, I finally felt like part of a community, but only partially. Everything and everyone was still a 30-plus minute drive away. My kids receive not just an education at HVE, but a home in their community. They are transfers from just outside HVE's boundary, but still a quick bike ride from their friends' houses. They play sports with current and future classmates. They see familiar faces when we are out and about. LISD is on the precipice of throwing this away. Throughout this process, I've seen cracks develop within our community and inside sown the seeds of distrust towards the board and the idea of one LISD. Don't let these seeds blossom by splitting the HVE community across two different schools. If you sow that discord today, you will reap an attendance famine should Governor Abbott achieve his voucher dream. Well-meaning parents gain a discounted temptation to leave LISD in hopes they can go back to the way things once were. Or, as I've seen so many times growing up in DFW, families continue to sprawl to the next hot developing community. I sat at Monday's board meeting when Rocky from Zonda presented updated demographic data. He stated the students were here, but LISD only captures 85% of them. However, those 85% are retained at a near perfect rate. Focus on capturing the other 15%. Do not rush to cripple the communities you serve because of fear or what might or has been. Ms. Prosnick, you stated Monday night that the board gave a well-deserved one-time payment for staff that we can no longer count in Austin. We have to count on ourselves, but you did more than that. You decided, no, you committed back in June to find a way to get that done. Come December, you must commit to do the same for your students. In doing so, you'll find committed parents that fight by your side in Austin. Your staff will remain committed to LISD, even if Austin pulls the rug again, because they are committed to their students' success. Or you could continue on this so-called efficiency course with data that is void of any consequence from campus retirement, until one day you too have a public school advocate telling a parent of a promising young student to leave LISD. The choice is yours.
Thank you. Will Speaker 14 please make their way? You may begin.
My name is Randy Beebe. My wife and I are products of LASD schools. We both attended LASD schools from elementary through our high school graduation in 2009. I also work for a municipality, so I understand the formality of listening tours. As a long-term member of this community, I urge you not to let tonight just be a formality, but a true opportunity to hear from people who will be directly impacted by your decisions. Tonight, I ask you to listen to the voices of everyone in this room to keep Highland Village Elementary open. Using numbers and data to craft your message is an art. The messenger must understand the optics of the numbers and when it is important to highlight a figure by using a percentage or by using an actual dollar amount because illusions can either soften a blow or push an agenda. Currently, LASD is facing a $4.5 million deficit, which LASD has done an amazing job of highlighting the dollar figure, as it sounds a lot like a lot of money to an average American. A $4.5 million deficit out of a $561 million budget means the district is at an 8% deficit, a 0.8% deficit. This is less than 1%, or as a member of your board is described on their Facebook page, a deficit this small is closer than a gnat's eyelash. So I ask you, LASD, is your children worth more than a gnat's eyelash? Are we really going to retire 5 campuses, displace thousands of students, along with countless staff members over a gnat's eyelash? To this board's credit, LASD's financial situation feels very different than other North Texas districts who have made decisions to retire campuses. All other districts outside of Irving ISD had deficits much higher, 4.3 to 6.5%. I think it's important to highlight Irving made the decision to close 2 campuses due to one campus being at 46% capacity and 50% capacity. Highland Village Elementary is currently at 73% capacity and is expected to maintain its capacity over the next 5 years. There's absolutely no reason our school should be on a retirement list, given the figures I just provided that our district's financial health at our school's capacity. It is hard not to view these numbers and decisions as part of a broader agenda, with LASD potentially using this volatile political climate and inadequate funding from the Texas legislature as a scapegoat to restructure and consolidate the district, sacrificing the quality of education, our students, our dedicated staff in the process. So I ask, what's the rush? Texas legislature meets in January. Governor Abbott has made it clear his first priority is passing the voucher program, then funding public schools and increasing teacher pay. Given that, why do we not wait to see what happens in January before making such a significant, irreversible decision? So in closing, I ask you again, LSD, is our students worth more than a gnat's eyelash? Thank you.
Speaker 15, please make your way down. Shattuck.
Hey, y'all. My name is Amber Shattuck. I'm a current HVE mom. This is my daughter, Willow. She's in 5th grade at HVE and has been a Viking since kindergarten. She's not speaking tonight, but she wanted to show her solidarity, and she wanted me to mention how much she wants to have the opportunity her senior year to do the senior walk through the halls of her beloved HVE. I spoke to you guys on Monday night at the board meeting on behalf of HVE PTA, as I'm the current sitting president. My plan tonight was to just talk to you as a mom and make an emotional appeal to you about how much this school means to our family. However, I sent you guys a list of questions from our PTA on Saturday, and they haven't been responded to yet. I'm not being accusatory in any way by saying that. I recognize that you've had an extraordinarily busy month, really, and so I understand why it hasn't been gotten to yet. But that said, I've promised a lot of people in this room that I would seek out answers to their questions. So tonight, I'm going to use as much of my 3 minutes as I can to read them. Number 1, our parents have been told to look at what Plano ISD and Richardson ISD did when they closed schools to address their deficits. Based on online data, Plano ISD had a $37 million deficit. Richardson ISD had a $27 million deficit when they made their decisions. Why are we looking at the extreme option of closing 5 schools over a current $4.5 million deficit, which is a 0.9 or 0.8%? I also had the gnat's eyelash thing in there, but I think y'all got it. Number 2, LASD's long-range plan, Goal 3, posted on the district website, says that the district's target goal is to reduce the deficit down to 1.5% for this school year, and then down to 1% for next school year. So if we're currently sitting at 0.9%, then we don't understand why we're considering closing schools at all. Number 3, since we are ahead of the planned target, even if consideration for school closures need to be made, we don't understand why this is being so rushed. Could this not be something that we consider over a year or 2 versus 2 to 3 months? Number 4, why are all self-contained SPED programs being funneled to Heritage when they have previously only had SPED pre-K and don't have experience with school-aged BIC, ALS, or AVLS students? Has the board considered the toll that this would take on admin if support is needed for multiple programs and students simultaneously? And has the impact on these students specifically been considered, as they are often less resilient to change than their typically learning peers? Number 5, given the climate that schools unfortunately must operate in today, has the board considered the safety issues that could present during an emergency situation? More students are a lot harder to organize in an emergency, but also your proposal ensures that all the self-contained SPED students who will have the hardest time navigating and understanding how to remain safe will be the responsibility of one group of administrators and school staff. Number 6, if the inefficiency metrics provided by the CEC committee was the litmus test for which schools should be considered for retirement, then why are we not focusing on the top 5 most inefficient schools? If there were other metrics that were being used in addition to those, then what specific ones were used to determine that HVE should be chosen for the Marcus feeder pattern? I'm out of time. We have 26 other questions that have been sent to you, and we do look forward to your response. Thank you so much for your time.
Bye. Thank you. Will Speaker 16 please make their way? Sir.
Good evening. My name is Jeremy Jones. I'm here with my wife, Jamie, and one of our 2 sons, Crew, who's currently in 5th grade at HVE. Y'all have shared and posted a lot of data with us on possible outcomes. However, none of it has been with any reference considering safety or emergency response. One of our most common goals, pretty much with everybody in this room, is our safety of our kids, especially when we drop them off at school. So if we're forced to close the school, I'd like to see our kids attend the safest 2 of the 3 options in our community. To accomplish this, I'd like to see y'all form a committee of fire, police, and emergency managers from Louisville, Flower Mound, and Highland Village, the cities that would mutual aid into Highland Village and respond to a call, along with LISD security and safety personnel. This committee would analyze each school and rank which 2 of the campuses are the safest for our kids. Not only safest in preventing and discouraging an incident, but which campus provides the best access for our first responders to get to the injured, as well as the campus that has the best means of egress or exit for our first responders to get the injured to the appropriate medical facility in the shortest amount of time to receive the life-saving treatment they may need. Thank you.
Thank you. The next speaker, please come up. Speaker 17.
Good evening. My name is Katie Bragg. I'm an LISD graduate, current teacher, and LISD brand ambassador. I love my kids, my school, my feeder pattern, and this district. But in the decade that I have taught in LISD, this job, through no fault of yours, has become progressively harder. Due to budget constraints, I can no longer attend professional conferences that sharpen and reinvigorate my classroom work. Last spring, I was told that my stipend for being our campus's GT liaison was being dissolved. As a result of rising insurance costs, inflation, and no raise this past summer, I actually, with more experience, receive a paycheck that doesn't go as far as it did a year ago. And every few days, we are warned about sub-shortages, which, if we are called upon to fill, sometimes require us to teach outside our content area during our conference or 2 classes at once. With each of these setbacks, I have grimaced, closed my eyes, swallowed hard, and said, "It's okay. I can do this. Yes, it's hard, but this is still the best job in the world." And then a few weeks ago, I learned that Highland Village Elementary, my children's school, might close. So the challenges that have begun to impact my workday will now lay hold to my morning and my evening as well. If my children's school closes, my husband will no longer be able to help me get them to school as he already has a long commute, and we will be zoned for McAuliffe, which is in the opposite direction of his office. So I will be dropping off 3 children at 3 different start times at 3 different campuses. My neighbor who lives just a few streets over is also an LISD teacher with a similar struggle. Except since our HVE community will be split in half due to rezoning, she will drive past McAuliffe to Heritage and make one of 3 stops at 2 different drop-off lines. The closure of our neighborhood school will take family time away from working mothers and fathers, many of whom are your staff. Our classroom students will see no difference in the time we spend with them, but our own kids will get less of us. Our own children will trade quality time at home for time spent in car lines or on buses. Time spent en route will increase for all families as the stretch of land between DKH, Heritage, McAuliffe, and Briar Hill will struggle to accommodate us all. Our kids will be required to wake up earlier and come home later. Many will trade pickup games of football after school for picking a seat on a bus. I can't express how defeating that feels. I know teacher retention is important, so I want you to think about the toll these closures are having on your LISD staff members who are also parents. We are already hurt and tired. Now we are doubly pained and doubly weary. If HVE closes, the quality of life for my family will be greatly diminished, so I respectfully request you leave HVE open, which is a source of comfort and light in these challenging days, and focus your efforts on rezoning and recruiting in order to reach efficiency. I greatly appreciate the commitment, effort, and energy you have devoted while navigating these difficult and unprecedented times. Thank you.
Thank you. Speaker 18. You may go, sir.
Hi, my name is Jack Bragg, but the people of Highland Village Elementary know me as Enthusiastic Jack. I've been going to HVE since kindergarten. I've been a part of the school's choir, kindness ambassador, robotics club, and filming crew. I want you to know the impact shutting down HVE could have on kids after school every single day. Each afternoon, my brother and I walk home, dump our backpacks on the floor, and go to Turpin Park, where we know every single day there will be multiple kids to hang out with from HVE. If HVE gets shut down, everyone's after-school plans will change, and we won't get to spend time together outside of school anymore. The neighbors, the family across the street, and I all go to Higland Village. Think about what it would be like for us going from walking to school every single day and walking to the park after school to spending 15 to 20 minutes on a loud bus. I know y'all are thinking about closing our school because we're small, but that's what's good about us. I'm in the 5th grade, and I know many students from kinder, 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th grade, and I think us being a small school is what makes us a close community. For instance, there's a kindergartner in Miss Hogan's class. His name is Rich, and he is one of my best friends. And there is also a kid in 4th grade named Coy. He and I always play football with each other after school at Turpin Park. Not only that, but these are just a few of the names I could list. I could go on and on about kids from different grades I know at HVE. In conclusion, HVE is an amazing school that puts a lot of work into making the students of Higland Village feel supported. Without HVE, my brother and I will lose the opportunity to hang out with friends at the park. HVE is more than just a school, it's a way of life. Shutting down HVE is like shutting down our community. Thank you for listening.
Thank you. Speaker 19, please make their way. Speaker 18.
Hi, my name is Crew Bragg, and I'm a third grader at Higland Village Elementary. Most days after school, I see Mr. Jerry. Mr. Jerry is one of my neighbors who lives by Turpin Park. He gives us popsicles and wants to see the smile on our faces. And if you close Higland Village, Mr. Jerry will lose the privilege to do that, and almost everybody knows him. And he greets everybody with a wave and a smile on his face. We also get to do a lot of field trips without having to pay for or ride on a bus. We have been able to visit the fire station, police station, mayor's office, and Turpin Park, all because of Higland Village is so close. I would be really sad if Higland Village closes. I'd feel really sad if I didn't get to go to the park right after school and play kickball, soccer, football, baseball, and sharks and minnows every day with my friend. Also, some of my friends will go to Heritage while I go to McAuliffe, so I will feel really sad about my friends going to a different school, and I will feel really bad for my friends who had to go to a different school. Please keep Higland Village open. Thank you.
Next speaker.
All right, good evening. I'm Braxton Bragg. I'm a parent of a 5th grade Viking, a 3rd grade Viking, and a 3-year-old future Viking. I recognize the difficult position the school board is in and the tough news you and Dr. Rapp have had to put forth. It's not easy for you. It's not easy for us. I'm frustrated that our school is being considered for closing. I'm frustrated that we are in a time when any of our schools would be considered for closing. I'm frustrated that it seems like our kiddos' well-being is being put second to balancing a budget that is pretty balanced. Y'all have done an amazing task implementing processes and changes that have increased a large deficit into something that is less than 1%. This is further highlighted by the fact that you've exceeded your goals set forth in your long-range planning document, a goal of achieving 1.5% this year and 1% in 25-26. I'm frustrated that shutting down 5 schools nets you approximately $2 to $2.5 million, still leaving you with a deficit. I question what's next, middle schools or more elementary schools? Or is our community and the other 4 communities the ones bearing the brunt to achieve a deficit that's now better than 0.5%? Or is there an incentive for this number, or is it simply arbitrary? I'm frustrated that in the annual comprehensive financial report for the last several years, I read statements talking about maintenance and operation tax cuts while we face what has been presented as a maintenance and operation efficiency problem with our schools. I read statements in prior years with much larger deficits about superior financial ratings in a general fund and debt service fund that have a minimum fund balance with, quote, parameters designed to assure a strong financial position in the event of reductions in enrollment, tax revenues, or other funding sources. The district's fund balance in both general and the debt service fund exceed these parameters. You can also find in the ACFR comments on our long-term financial planning, quote, the district has grown the fund balance to ensure that the needed resources are available to provide for enrollment declines and unexpected situations. Or, quote, the district has experienced growth in taxable property values. This increase is expected to result in increased ad valorem tax collections. Again, superior financial positioning, and yet here we are, balancing the four cornerstones of the district's vision against what? Looking at the four cornerstones, HVE exceeds in every category. Student learning exceeds, student experience exceeds, community engagement exceeds, resource stewardship in time, talent, and treasure, not just taxpayer money, exceeds. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Speaker 21.
Hi, my name is Kasia Shved Carlson, and this is my daughter, Athena. Athena is a second grader at Highland Village Elementary, and she is the youngest second grader in that school. She was robbed of the opportunity to attend preschool for 2 years during and after COVID. And because of her young age and that lack of opportunity, she has struggled in school since kindergarten. There are many reasons why we chose to live in East Highland Village. It is an established, safe, and affordable community for young families. And it was built around a reputable elementary school. HVE is the cornerstone of East Highland Village. And its intimate and personal community has allowed my daughter to thrive with all the disadvantages. And then I also wanted to point to that poster because a lot of kids mentioned Turpin Park. Those are all the little hands that are part of that community that we've joined when we moved to East Highland Village. And all of them play at that park after school every single day. I reviewed the findings of the Community Efficiency Committee. However, I struggled to find the element of community in their work. I found raw data, predictions, which put numbers and dollar signs next to my daughter's name. The community are the students, the teachers, the staff, the administrators like yourselves, and our neighbors that will be affected by these numbers and dollar signs. I work in the high-risk aviation industry. Every time an aircraft takes off, there are a million risks taken by the operators, the crews, and the flying public. I'm not even going to pretend to know what you have to go through with the public education system. That is your job. But I take change management very seriously because I understand that the risks and consequences of even the smallest changes can have huge consequences on the flying public, which again is relevant to my industry. The number one priority in the aviation industry is safety. Because we understand that if we take care of our top priority, everything else, including financial stability and the well-being of our community, will follow. Your number one priority in the public education sector is to ensure that all students have access to high-quality education. And I must say, LISD has done a fantastic job of this. I see it every day in my own child. And just look at the community that showed up here today because of all the work that you have done. So please listen to their alternative solutions, because they have plenty of them. As leaders in your industry, I ask you to consider the community at large and look beyond the raw data and predictions. I urge you to focus on your top priority, and I encourage you to get back to the drawing board as you prepare alternative solutions.
Thank you. Speaker 22, please make their way. Ma'am?
My name is Jennifer Dragoo. I'm a working mom, an HVE and Marcus parent, and an LISD alum. I graduated from Louisville. I'd like to start by saying that this proposal is terrible for our students, our staff, and our community. The solution of campus retirement is extreme and disproportionate to the scale of the problem. Number one, the deficit is less than 1% of the budget. While I commend your progress from the original $43 million deficit, if you can find $38.5 million, you can find another $4.5. Number two, projected savings from the closures only solves half of the budget deficit anyway. Number three, we were told optimal capacity is 80%, and only by moving the goalpost to 90% does this proposal work. Number four, McCullough is already at 90% of facility usage. Adding 122 students puts the school at 96% of the new optimal capacity and over 100% of the original. 37% of HVE students are walkers. There's nothing more valuable to me as a parent than the blessing of walking with my 9-year-old. If you close our school, 100% of us will lose that privilege. Number six, more than half of students will pass McCullough to attend Heritage. Traffic is already an issue at the intersection of 407 and Barnett. The congestion of the three schools on Briar Hill Boulevard is bad enough now, and the addition of students, bused and driven, will increase traffic by more than 20%. The negative impact to our property values nor the potential for growth were considered by the Efficiency Committee. Our zone is filled with the most affordable starter homes in Higland Village with the most potential for attracting young families. Hear us loud and clear. We do not want this. You are going against the will of your constituents. Lastly, we should be efficient with processes and effective with people. Just like we've been reduced to a number and churned through in 3-minute increments for the sake of efficiency, you've reduced our children down to the measurement in dollars and failed to capture the true value of being an HVE Viking. Let me close with this. I'd like to say thank you, genuinely and sincerely. Thank you for waking us up. It's only at the precipice that we find the will to change. We've been sleepwalking through the underfunding of public education for a long time. Use this momentum, use our passion and our love to help enact meaningful positive change in Austin. You have the unique opportunity to be heroes, to save our schools and be the district that ushers in a new era of funding the future and investing in the best interests of our children, not because it is efficient, but because it is the right thing to do. Please consider keeping all 5 schools open in service of the greater good. We are LISD and we are one.
Speaker 23. Yep.
Hi, my name is Delaney Dragoo, and I'm 9 years old in 4th grade. I've made a lot of memories at HVE, and I'm really looking forward to 5th grade. What I really love about my school is how each teacher is patient, kind, and cares about how you feel. I love how all the teachers greet you by name with a smile and a hug. I don't have a favorite teacher because I love them all. My favorite memory at HVE was when I got a poster from 2nd grade during the last week of school that said, "If you don't know where to start, just write from the heart." But on that day, it was raining, and on the way home, the poster got soaking wet. The colors were all running down the paper. And when Miss Archer found out, she made me a whole new poster because she knew how special it was to me. My best friend Sawyer lives 2 streets over from me, and if our school gets shut down, we would be separated. He would go to Heritage, and I would go to McAuliffe. Sawyer and I raced to see who could get to school first for the last 3 months, and I won't be able to beat him if we don't go to the same school, and that would truly break my heart. Every day, I walk to and from school with my dad, and when my mom is home, we all walk together, and if our school gets shut down, I won't be able to walk with my family anymore. But my mom says that we're going to spend a lot of time together in the car. And personally, I don't mind going to McAuliffe, but I would not want to miss out on 5th grade graduation at the school I know and love. I will only miss 1 year, but the kindergartners and 1st graders will miss out on an amazing Viking experience. I'm very grateful for the time I had at HVE, and I would love if you can consider keeping our school open. Thank you for your time.
Speaker 24. You're up.
Hi, my name is Hattie Bailey, and I'm 8 years old. And I'm in 2nd grade. What I love most about my school is my teachers and friends are so nice. I like that my teachers dance when I come to school. I like HVE. I am fighting to save my school. I am fighting to save my teachers and friends. Please keep HVE open.
Good evening. My name is Sarah Bailey. I have a 2nd grader at HVE. She is part of the Turpin gang that walks to the park every day after school. This year, she's gained a wealth of independence, being able to walk after school and also being able to ride her bike to school with her dad when he gets off his shift in the morning. To say that this school is a massive part of our quality of life would be an understatement. A good chunk of dads at HVE are firefighters for the neighboring cities and also Higland Village. Our lives are already heavily affected by their schedules and the complexities of their job and the mental toll it takes on them and in turn takes on us. So the ability to walk and ride to school in the mornings they get allows these dads to have quality time with their kids after being gone for 24 to 48 hours. The teachers and staff at this school also make sure our kids are fully supported in the many ways they face different life circumstances. Our teams of teachers are incredibly connected and engaged in not just their own class, but every class, and with every student's well-being. We traumatically lost our neighbor, our next door neighbor, close to the last day of school in kindergarten. It was a really hard day. Not only did my daughter feel supported, but I felt supported by other families that heard and teachers.
When our dog died, Miss Collinsworth let Hattie sit at her desk the whole day. She sat her home with a book that helped explain and put words to what I couldn't articulate. My mom and mother-in-law both have had cancer this last year, and I was checked on, and Hattie was supported day after day as we navigated a really uncertain future. These stories are just the tip of the iceberg. We are a family at HVE, and no one is left behind. Closing us feels like a messy divorce, and no one wins, and everyone is worse off.
Speaker 25, make their way. Yep.
Hello, my name is Meredith Reedy. I was a McAuliffe Highlander, a Briar Hill Bulldog, and a Marcus Marauder. Then I was a Baylor Bear, and then I came back here, met my husband, bought a house so that I could let my children attend McAuliffe Elementary School. And I am here today because my heart is crushed for you. Crushed. And so I just speak from a different perspective on your behalf. Perhaps a perspective that we can step back. Sometimes when we get into details, we forget the things that are most important. So I'm going to look high view for a second here, and I want to talk about a couple of things. The first one, we are talking about closing the number 9 elementary school in the district. And you're going to affect the number 6 and the number 12 schools who will be welcoming them in, red carpet and all. But this doesn't make sense. I'm just not sure how this school is still on the table. The second thing, dividing these kids, sending half of them, more than half of them to Heritage. Have you done that pickup line? There is a 35-mile-an-hour speed zone, school zone. It's not even 20. There is not even a stoplight. They're not allowed to turn left on 407 until after like 4:30 p.m. There's no other entrance except for that one, and there are 25 patio homes that are about to be built on the other side of the fence. I urge you to do that car line now and then multiply it. The third thing that frustrates me the absolute most and validates every single thing that everyone is frustrated here with is the fact that transfers are safe because they have a $sign over their head. The out of districts, I've done my research, I understand that, but the special needs kids, those 7 kids at McAuliffe, how is this on the table? I really don't understand it. I get that there's a lot that goes into it. Trust me, I've read every single one of your slideshows. I've been emailing a significant amount with Buddy Bonner and Charlotte Wilcox, and I'm super grateful that she came and spoke on behalf of our city. And I get it. This only tells a surface level story, but it tells everybody what they're fearful about public schools is true. That we're selling our souls, that we're headed for demise. You were charged to be good stewards with your resources, good stewards to the community, and nothing says dying community like closing a namesake school on a main road for a community that is thriving. This is wrong.
Thank you. Speaker 26, please make their way. Yep.
Hello, my name's Heather Lupton. All the buzzwords we keep hearing, deficit, efficiency, projections, as it pertains to our children's futures. So like these other hardworking parents, I delved into the statistics available on the CEC website. For the Marcus feeder pattern, I discovered the optimal enrollment capacity percentage projection for the end of 2028 school year is 71.87%. If HVE is retired, that projected enrollment average only increases to 71.93% for the same time frame. This represents an increase of only 0.06%. To consider such a negligible improvement as justification for retiring a school seems nonsensical. The impact of this decision in our community and children cannot be reduced to this. LISD's 4 guiding principles are clear. The proposal to retire HVE jeopardizes 3 of these principles, while its contribution towards the 4th is negligible. However, since numbers are the main drivers of our children's futures, let's examine how this closure will affect the daily lives of our children. My children, along with their peers, will face an increased transit time of at least 25 minutes each day due to greater distance and traffic. That's over 2 hours wasted every week. Additionally, assuming we retain our spot in the ESD program, They will be spending an extra 30 minutes at school each day, totaling 2.5 hours each week, dedicated to waiting around rather than engaging in productive activities. The impact on their sleep is also concerning. Longer travel times will cut into their rest by at least 30 minutes a day, or 2.5 hours each week. This loss translates to diminished energy and concentration, which are essential for their academic success. Time spent with family, homework assistance, and engaging in quality activities will all be reduced by approximately 45 minutes daily, resulting in a loss of 3.75 hours each week. This decline in family time is an intangible yet significant loss that cannot be quantified merely in numbers. The immediate stress placed on the working parents of HVE is palpable. The proposed retirement was communicated on October 8th. HVE families have been left scrambling to understand the details and rally support to save our school. The timeline that's been provided to do so is unthoughtful, considering what's at stake for these students, and quite frankly, it feels suspicious. Finally, the implications of retiring HVE go far beyond financial metrics. The negative effects for our children regarding less time for academic engagement at home, diminished sleep, and quality of family time present a profound risk to our children's well-being and academic futures. These are the factors that should have been carefully measured and considered before proposing such a drastic action. This proposal has left the east side of Higland Village as an afterthought, yet here we are, trying to make our children's voices heard. While I understand you are in a difficult situation as a board, you were elected to be the voice of this community. You do not have our community's backing, nor the backing of the city of Higland Village. We urge you to reconsider, to reflect on the true cost to each of our children and families, and to seek more thoughtful solutions that foster a supportive and educational environment. Thank you.
Thank you. Speaker 27, please make their way. Yep.
Hi, good evening, everyone. My name is Glenda Noyes, and I'm a parent of 2 children attending Higland Village Elementary. As a former LISD student myself, I understand that times have changed. However, one thing that should never change is our commitment to prioritizing our children's education and future. Closing the school seems like a simplistic and ultimately destructive response to the issue of low enrollment, especially when considering the impact on a smaller school like ours. While financial concerns are often cited, we must ask, what will be the long-term cost of such decision? Displacing students will cause significant trauma, which will undoubtedly affect both attendance and academic performance, further damaging the school scores. Research has shown that when schools are closed, students' test scores and grades typically drop in the year before and after closure. The ripple effects of such decisions are not just financial. They have a profound emotional and academic impact on our children. So I respectfully urge the board members to put our children's well-being and education first and make the decision to keep our schools open. Thank you.
Thank you. Will Speaker 28 please make their way? Sir.
Good evening, Good evening, members of the school board and HVE family. I would like to start by expressing my sincere gratitude for your tireless efforts and dedication to LISD and in reducing our deficit. Your commitment to creating a nurturing educational environment for our children is truly commendable, and we thank you for your hard work. However, I stand before you today with deep concern regarding the potential closure of HVE. As a proud parent of three HVE Vikings, I believe that it is absolutely crucial to keep our school open, not just for my children, but for the entire community. As Dr. Bonner states, schools are a microcosm of society in every way imaginable. HVE has served as a cornerstone for our neighborhood, fostering a sense of belonging and friendship among families. This school provides more than just academic education. It cultivates future leaders and responsible citizens. The dedication of our educators and staff, the joy of our students, and the unwavering support from parents are irreplaceable elements that create the vibrant learning environment we have come to cherish. Considering the recent trend of neighboring districts closing schools, keeping HVE open would allow us to stand out and become a more attractive option for families looking for quality education. As other districts close their schools, we have the chance to position LISD as a beacon of hope and opportunity within North Texas, drawing families who are seeking a strong educational foundation for their children. This is the very reason many of us moved to this area. I want to emphasize that I have been actively participating in advocating for the funding of our public schools need. I have signed petitions and written letters to Governor Abbott demanding that he stop holding public school funding hostage and urging him to provide adequate support for our schools. It is essential that we receive the resources necessary to promote a quality education and ensure our children's future successes. In addition, I respectfully ask the board to postpone any decision regarding the closure of HVE until after the 89th Texas legislative session concludes. This will allow us the opportunity to review any potential increases in school funding that could support our institution and help sustain its invaluable role in our community. Closing our school would create a profound disruption in the lives of our children and lead to a significant loss of community spirit. When children learn and grow together, they develop lasting relationships that not only enrich their lives, but also enhance the lives of those around them. Research has shown that strong community schools correlate with improved local economies, decreased crime rates, and greater community engagement, as you see here tonight. We cannot afford to lose such an asset. I urge you all to reconsider the potential closure of HVE, considering the far-reaching impact it would have on our students and the broader community. Let us explore alternative funding options or community partnerships that could help sustain our beloved school instead of closing its doors permanently. Thank you for considering.
Thank you. Speaker 29, make your way down.
Hello, my name is Lucas Morgan. I'm 10 years old and I'm in Ms. Duvak's 5th grade class at Higland Village Elementary. I want to tell you some reasons you shouldn't close HVE. One of my favorite moments at school is the excitement of going to the GT room on GT day. I get to be with the people I have a sense of care for, and Ms. Robinson is the most amazing teacher ever. We also have a lot of great after-school activities. I'm in one called BTS, short for Behind the Scenes Crew, and we get to help Ms. Cotton, who is our music teacher, with performances and plays for the younger kids. It's a great way to get involved if you don't like speaking in front of an audience, which I don't really like. So yeah, I don't know why I'm here. I'm just trying to save our school. We have a lot of opportunities and things that help kids develop and are fun. One of those is student council. Right now I'm running for vice president. Maybe I can show you around if I win. Our building is really nice. It's very clean and it's in good working order from what I've seen. The size of our school is really great too. It's a good size for the people participating. It has a good amount of room. It doesn't feel crowded. Even when 2 to 3 classes pass in the hall, it doesn't feel too packed, which no one likes to feel too cramped and smushed. The atmosphere of our school is really positive and uplifting. Kindergartners and 5th graders can pass in the hall without any bullying or meanness. Sometimes siblings even hug. We all have a sense of belonging and care. HVE is a really great school. I hope you keep it open. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Next speaker.
Hello. My name is Nico Maureen. I'm 9 and I'm in Miss Cazares' 3rd grade class. Students from HVE, please say the affirmation with me. I am a Higland Village Viking. I am smart. I believe in myself. And my abilities. Excellence begins with me. I am a Higland Village Viking.
Thank you. Thank you. Next speaker.
Hi, everyone. My name is Jeff McCown, father of 2 kids at HVE, 1 HVE graduate. And first, I'd like to say that I do appreciate the difficulty of the position you all find yourselves in. The state legislature, of course, has put you in this position, and I applaud the work you've done thus far to cut costs and reduce our budget deficit. I also recognize that we're definitely not the only school district in the area to face these types of challenges. But I'd love to see us be the first to handle these challenges differently. As has already been stated, Richardson ISD faced a $28 million deficit, 6.7% of their operating budget. They closed 4 schools. Plano ISD faced a $35 million budget deficit, 5% of their operating budget. They also closed 4 schools. As we all know, we're facing a $4.5 million budget deficit, and we have on the table closing 5 schools. One of these things just doesn't really feel like the other. And the actions that we're taking seem pretty fast and drastic relative to the scale of the problem versus other districts. Also, I'd point out just from the data that you've shared, and you've done a great job of being transparent, HVE is not an outlier in terms of efficiency nor enrollment. It's near optimal capacity, projected to stay there over the course of the next 5 years, and it's not much above average in operational costs per student. I know your desire wasn't to rank schools, but there are about a dozen other schools in the district with operational costs per student higher than HVE. But I will say that there definitely is one area where HVE is an outlier, and that is in academic performance. Schools in the 95th percentile in Texas for year-over-year changes in student performance, and 92nd on STAR tests. It's rated 10 out of 10 by great schools. I understand performance wasn't a part of your equation, nor was it a part of the equation in other districts, but I think that's a mistake. Failing to consider how well our kids are being educated doesn't seem to be in the best interest of the kids you serve. LISD prides itself on real innovation and limitless opportunities. Let's band together to find a creative solution that doesn't involve closing schools and dismantling the safe and nurturing environment that's in your core beliefs. We've got $132 million in our general fund. I know we don't want to drop below $128 million and lose our credit rating, but that being said, we all know that there are billions of dollars in unspent funds at the state level for public education. Let's band together, find a way to kick the can down the road, collectively push the state off their butts and into action, and avoid.
Thank you. Will Speaker 32 please make their way?
Hello, my name is Kristen Nowlin, and I have a second grader and I have a sixth grader that graduated from Highland Village as well. We are all, or most of us at least, are here because HVE is at risk of closure. While much of the discussion has focused on perceived weaknesses related to enrollment and efficiency, the true strengths of HEV, such as the welcoming culture, outstanding test scores, teacher retention, and the deep sense of community and belonging, seem to be overlooked. Ironically, these so-called weaknesses may actually be HVE's greatest assets. Every child has unique needs, and many benefit from individualized attention that a smaller school setting provides. HVE strikes the perfect balance. It has a carefully selected staff and the intimate environment that supports students like my own, who might otherwise have attended a private, charter, or homeschool. By closing HVE, LISD risks pushing families away to alternative schools, reducing enrollment even further. For my family, HVE was the answer we needed after a difficult experience with my oldest at another district. We chose our home specifically so our sons could attend HVE, when alternatively, if it had not been available, they would have gone to a private or charter school. I know other parents share similar stories, and we are all blessed that our children are part of such a special school. We should be striving to keep exceptional schools like HVE open, especially in challenging times when careful strategic decisions are essential. HVE isn't the district's least efficient school. It has strong test scores, exceptional teachers, and a supportive administration. Its low enrollment is intentional by design and could be addressed through boundary adjustments. All three Highlandville elementary schools can remain open with a bit of thoughtful planning. The closure of HVE will harm the entire community. The other two Highland Village schools will face larger class sizes, created crowded classrooms, and area traffic will increase significantly. CEC data indicates that enrollment is dropping because housing prices are making it difficult for families to move in the area. Yet HVE's neighborhood has some of the most affordable homes in the area. Closing HVE would reduce the attractiveness of these homes to new families, especially since proposed boundary changes would require busing or long drives to schools further away. A fair situation would be to adjust the lines of HVE students going to McAuliffe and shifting McAuliffe kids to Heritage. If budget cuts are truly the issue, why aren't we closing schools with the least efficiency and the highest expenses? No one wants to see a school close, but if financial savings are the goal, then let's approach it in a way that optimizes.
Thank you. Speaker 33, please make their way. Yep.
Hi, my name is Mikhail Basyuk. I, as a parent who has 2 kids in Highland Village, and hopefully the third one will be applied for the school in the next year. We choose with my wife the area specifically for the reason of Highland Village, because this is the best school in the area, like many miles. And it's very strange, this decision, like to close the school, like for me it looks like come out of nowhere, like suddenly. I agree, this is terrible decision, in my opinion, from financial perspective, when we looking not for the short term, but like middle term and long term, like it will drive out families out of area, young families. My suggestion would be to postpone this decision for 2 years. And yeah, basically, hopefully this decision is not made right now. We really does not provide the feedback on decision, but really trying for you to make the right decision. In top of this, okay, thank you.
Thank you. Speaker 34, can you make your way?
On November 4th, I attended the board work session. I'd like to thank President Jenny Prosnick and Allison Lasan for taking the initiative to introduce yourselves to the HVE and GRE parents. We appreciated knowing that we were seen and welcomed. As I sat during the meeting, I couldn't help but keep looking at the large sign behind Dr. Rapp. It said, LISD, Real Innovation, Limitless Opportunity. And it got me thinking, what would real innovation and limitless opportunity look like when facing our current situation? Is retiring schools, just like all the districts around us, really an innovative approach or providing limitless opportunity? In the words of Stephen Jeffs, innovation is the unrelenting drive to break the status quo and develop anew where few have dared to go. I'm Petra McCown, parent of 3 LISD children, a sophomore, 5th grader, and 2nd grader. We moved from out of state almost 7 years ago now, and we chose a home in Highland Village so our children could attend HVE. 2 of our 3 kiddos have a rare medical condition where their bodies don't make important life-sustaining hormones, which requires a high degree of diligence, daily monitoring and medications, and follow-through on their 504 plan. HVE has handled this with the utmost calm, caring, and competence. Which brings me to another concern. Although closing down schools may provide some short-term gains, I fear it will come with many lasting unintended consequences. Enrollment is already declining, and more families will withdraw their children from LISD, avoiding enrolling or decide not to move to the area. Remaining schools will face overcrowding, limited resources, and inadequate support for students. Teacher performance, employee morale, and student safety will suffer, leading to a decline in the quality of education LISD has worked so hard to develop in the first place. Now, I truly respect the weight all of you are having to bear. You already have done a lot to address LISD's financial situation. But an issue of this magnitude, one that would very negatively impact so many teachers, staff, parents, community members, and above all, young students, should not simply rest on your shoulders alone. Real innovation doesn't happen in a vacuum or among a small group of people. I envision a dream team of board members, administrators, teachers, staff, parents, community members, and students coming together to solve real-world problems in a collaborative, innovative, and opportunistic way. LISD must differentiate itself from neighboring school districts, and by doing so could very well entice greater student enrollment, talented teachers and staff, deliver a stellar education, and gain financial stability. Please allow us an opportunity to work together as a community, save our schools before it's too late, and make LISD known as a thought leader in the public education. Thank you for listening, and go Vikings.
Thank you. Speaker 35.
Hi, my name is Stephanie Boaz, and I have a 1st grader named Charlie in the BIC program at Highland Village Elementary. Charlie started kinder at another LISD school, and not too long into that school year, Things took a turn for the worse. His behavior was out of control. They were not able to accommodate him at his home campus. After evaluations through both school and outpatient, it was discovered that he had severe ADHD and autism. He was moved to HVE for the BIC program, and his behaviors improved significantly just over weeks of being there. Charlie has found a place where he is known and loved. I am no longer receiving daily phone calls at work. He's no longer seen as the bad kid by his peers, allowing for positive peer relationships. As we see the rates of autism in the U.S. climb each year, we will need to continue to support this population in the schools, and HVE's BIC program does just that, and they do it well. They're one of the model programs in LISD and maintain a full, consistent staff with high retention rates. The expertise and consistency allows for kids like Charlie to have a safe and nurturing environment that is essential for their well-being, living out one of the LISD beliefs. The argument would be that we could take this exact program and plop it down in another school, and that may sound good on paper, but let's address another factor that makes the BIC program work at Highland Village, the other staff members at Highland Village. Highland Village in general has high teacher retention. These teachers have exposure to the SPED kids. They learn how to best integrate them, from the paired gen ed teacher to the special teacher, the office staff, and let's not forget the cafeteria worker who tells Charlie that she is his biggest fan. After about a year, Charlie is about 50% integrated, if not more on some days, and he's progressing at a steady pace. And it's because of the small population and the truly individualized attention. The way that Highland Village has worked over the years to strategically create a space where kids like Charlie are able to be seen and cared for in a way that sometimes is lacking in society is something that will not be able to be replicated. I fear this change will cause regression not only for Charlie but his SPED peers. Kids with autism don't particularly do well with change. Closing HVE would be asking my 7-year-old to move to his 3rd school in 3 years. He would be navigating a new, larger building, meeting new administration, support staff, and separating him from the friendships he has worked so hard to grow. The multitude of transitions will cause setbacks, and who knows how long we will have to work to get him back on track again, all in the name of saving some of the money the district is short on, even though it seems that LISD is under the sought after less than 1%. My hope is that as you entered here today, that you don't have your mind already made up, and that this is truly a listening tour, and what all these other parents and I have had to say to you matters, and that you will consider the points given to you and do everything in your power to stand with us and save the school. You may see what the district has to gain financially, but I ask you to please consider what we would be losing as a community. Does the reward really outweigh the risk?
Thank you. The next speaker. Yep.
My name is Sofia Petroshenko. I am a former HVE student. Our family has been a member of HVE for more than 10 years, and we hope we will continue because no decisions have been made yet. We moved to this area 11 years ago from Irving because we liked HVE, a small family-like school with an excellent rating with walking distance. Away from busy roads and easy access to highway, I am sure many other families moved to this area for the same reason. We want to express our deepest gratitude to the entire HVE team for their outstanding work. They are true professionals in their field. Strong, trusting relationships between students, teachers, parents provide a solid foundation for the maximum growth of our students, and we value this very much. Not long ago, a family with small children moved to our street, but they chose a private school because they don't trust public education, and this is a quote. We know at least 2 families who transfer their children to homeschooling because they don't trust public education. School capacity has a direct relationship with parental trust as well. Why is public education losing parents' trust? Perhaps this is a question that should be considered too. We are sure that the level of trust will decrease if we continue to close schools. 2 schools have already been closed. Now, by closing another 5 schools, we are bringing several schools to almost the optimal capacity, in which classes will appear overcrowded. Because this is impossible to fill each grade with the ideal number of students, and all other students will be left with a shortage of students. And it's only a matter of time which school will be next on the list for retirement. All 3 schools in Highland Village are beautiful schools with a high rating and their own unique programs that attract more families from other districts. By closing one of them, we reduce the almost zero possibility of new transfers. Let's be more flexible and creative in addressing the needs of each community. Instead of reducing services, let's consider expanding new services for each community. To do this, collect information from all schools in the districts about open classes and available spaces. Consider various options for the reassignment. For example, in our school, it would be probably a good idea to open a pre-K. This would make life easier for many families. Other options are possible. Let's think about this too. Let's make various plans and calculate the budget. Also, could you please share with the community a detailed report for each school from the list for retirement? How much we save and what new expenses are expected, and instead of the total amount. We believe that together we can find the right way out of this solution. Thank you.
Thank you. Will Speaker 38 please make their way?
Hello, my name is Jocelyn Hoover, and I have a 4th grader at Highland Village and a 6th grader at Briar Hill. I am a lifelong member of this community. My parents met here at Marcus. My mom and I went to Timber Creek, Lamar, and Marcus, and we've had some struggles with LISD since then. My kids actually went to 3 different elementary schools, never finishing a year, before we ended up pulling them out to homeschool them. After several years, I got the courage to trust LISD again, and I put our kids in Highland Village. Sorry. That's where we found our home. Both of my kids are in special education programs. They have IEPs, and the support that we have received at Highland Village has been transformative. Axel, my oldest, was in the BIC program, and they changed all of our lives, honestly. His behavior did a complete 180. He was out of that class in 3 months, less than 3 months. Back completely integrated into his classroom where he was in the least restrictive environment. My youngest will be speaking next, and he's going to be speaking from his heart. And the changes that I have seen in him have also been transformative. He has multiple disabilities. You might not be able to look at it and see it, but the teachers and staff at Highland Village have been the reason that he has also made so much progress academically and in his confidence. The emotional toll on Riker and countless other children in similar circumstances cannot be overstated. For children with special needs, especially those like Riker who rely on structured environments, any change in routine can have disastrous effects. The stability of his current school, the consistency of his teachers, many of which have been there for over 2 decades, which is incredibly impressive, and the familiar faces of his classmates are the foundations of his success. Uprooting him now, just before the transition to middle school, the year after next, would erase hard-won progress that we've made together. He's also going to end up losing access to his best friend as often as he does because they're going to be split going to different schools. And I really hope that y'all carefully consider and prioritize the well-being of our children as number one, especially whenever everyone's talked about this incredibly small deficit. Our children are worth more than that. Thank you.
Thank you. Speaker 38. Yep.
Hi, my name is Riker Woltman, and I am in 4th grade. I really enjoy this school, and I went to 3 other schools. Was that 3 other schools? I went to 3 other schools, and the 4th one, which is Higland Village Elementary, has been the best. I've been here since 3rd grade, and Miss Cazares, Miss Thatcher, Miss Regan, Miss Powell, Miss Goodrich, and Miss Bolton are all the greats. I had so much fun here at Highland Village Elementary. So please keep my school open.
Thank you. Speaker 38.
My name is Axel Woltman. I'm a 6th grader at Briar Hill Middle School, and I went to HVE when I was in 5th grade. I tried multiple different schools, but we haven't found our home until HVE. It has been a proud place for me to learn. I have ADHD, and I've been in BIC for less than 3 months, and after that, I learned so well. Please keep our school open. Thank you.
Thank you. Speaker 40, make your way. Speaker 39.
My name is John Pyle. Our son Griffin's in 1st grade at Highland Village Elementary. I can't express to you the blessing that HVE has been for our family. We knew pretty early on that school may not be the easiest for Griffin. He was struggling with letters and sounds as other kids were beginning to read. As he moved from daycare to pre-K and the demand on kids grew, it became apparent how much the struggles were weighing on him. Our happy boy did not want to get out of the car at drop-off line. At pickup line, we were picking up a sad, confused, and exhausted boy. I'll never forget the first time he got in the car at not even 5 years old and told me he hates school, he's different from the other kids, and it's just too hard. My wife has been teaching in Plano the previous 11 years, and we had a tough decision to make as kindergarten approached. Do we send him to a large school where she taught in Plano, or do we want to go to school closer to home? When looking at area schools, Highland Village Elementary stood out. Incredible parent satisfaction, great class sizes, an incredible special education program with a perfect 100 score and closing performance gaps. My wife put in an application, and lucky enough, after a few months, we became Vikings. It's impossible to fully grasp the impact that Highland Village has had on Griffith. His kindergarten teacher, Miss Hogan, who is a legend, 20-plus years teaching kindergarten at the same school, with the ability to make every kid in her class feel like the most special kid in the world. It took some time because school was still very hard for him, but he built a sense of pride, and she built a sense of pride and determination in him that we'd never seen. Another after-school quote I'll never forget, as he casually and confidently told me, "Miss Hogan taught me today that I can do hard things." At the end of last year, we began the SPED testing process to better understand what was making school so hard for him. What was most impressive about the process, besides the sheer amount of time they spent working with him and shadowing him, was the amount of improvement we saw from just the extra attention he was getting during the testing process. Griffin has a long list of eligibilities and is going to need a lot of support. But I left that ARD with a completely new sense of confidence in his path to success, knowing we made the right decision for our son. But it was impossible to ignore the sinking pit in my stomach, knowing this amazing school may soon be taken away from us. Because life is not just good at HVE, it's the best. I've been surrounded by teachers my whole life. My mom, grandmother, wife, and mother-in-law are all teachers. At different points in their careers, they have all dealt with overcrowded classrooms and seen special education departments overbooked and spread too thin. Schools and teachers operate best under maximum capacity. Our kids do not learn better and grow because of budget inefficiencies. They learn and grow where they feel loved, accepted, and at home. It feels horrible that you're making our children's livelihoods feel like a line item on a spreadsheet. It's impossible to argue that this proposal is a net positive for any student in the district. I urge you all not to just keep Highland Village open, but to keep all 5 schools open, to not break apart entire schools worth of friends and families because of a deficit so small that it's less than 1%. Vote no to close our schools.
Thank you. Speaker 41, make their way. Speaker 40.
Patina Jackson. I was a Donald Dolphin, a Forestwood Falcon, and a Flower Mound Jaguar. My parents intentionally built our home within walking distance, so we regularly rode our bikes to school. The stability of developing close relationships at one elementary school was paramount to my social, emotional, and academic success. The story was the same for my husband. It was clear to us we wanted to raise our kids here in LISD in our neighborhood school, that we would build community with our neighbors as we walk and ride bikes, as we get involved in school programs and have lasting relationships with teachers. I have a 3rd grader, Nora, a 1st grader, Paisley, and a son who will be in kinder in the fall. On Mondays, I take home Titus in 2nd grade and his brother Wes, who will be in kinder next year. They're children of Miss Archer, a 2nd grade teacher. She's an LISD kid too, and we're intentionally raising our kids in the same community. On the bike ride to school, we pass 3rd grader RJ and his soon-to-be kinder brother Johnny. We pass Adeline in 1st grade, Bentley in 3rd grade. We pass Everett in 1st grade and his future Viking little brother. We pass future Vikings Harley and Henry, the children of HVE's SRO, Officer Ben. Henry will be in kinder with Wyatt, Wes, and Johnny next year. Lots of kinders coming up, and this is just on my block. These are our neighbors, our friends, and our school is our family. In the previous meeting, I shared that I'm a music therapist and worked for 10 years in public special education. I shared research on the critical impact that school stability has on student outcomes and left paper copies with even more research. These were not simply my personal ideas, but evidence-based research on the significant negative impact of children changing schools. And these are credible sources. Second Step, our SEL curriculum in LISD, CASEL, which is the premier organization for social emotional learning, and the National Institutes of Health were just a few. And the facts state that switching schools outside of the normal progression has a more significant negative impact on students' social, emotional, and academic success than moving homes or even family poverty. Changing schools has a more significant impact on children than poverty. The routine of their school, from morning drop-offs with Digley and Mitchell, to the library where they know Miss Losick will be ready with a story, to Nurse Stewart's office, who knows who is actually sick and who maybe just needs a hug. They can't wait for the popcorn game with Miss Murray or to proudly chant the Viking affirmation with Miss Cotton. When Nora's having a hard day, she knows she can swing by her old second grade class for a hug from Miss Archer. Paisley knows she can check on Patrick and Miss Cannon's class to make sure our favorite red-eared slider from kindergarten is still swimming. They know exactly where they're going. They know what to expect. They know who to expect. They find their stability at their neighborhood school and by staying at that school all the way through. And we here as parents are powerless to do anything for our children but beg. But you have the power here. Your vote for our schools to hear and represent us. We will keep our children, our teachers, our families, and our neighborhoods from the trauma of losing a school family. The most efficient thing we can do as a district is to steward children first, to uphold thriving neighborhood schools as a model for others to follow. Thank you so much.
Speaker 42, will you make your way down? Yep.
Hi, my name is Mandy Tutt, and I'm the parent of 4 Vikings. I'm going to try and make it through this. I have 1 at Briar Hill, 1 at Marcus, and then 2 currently at HVE. 11 years ago, we carefully purchased our home, keeping HVE in mind due to the class sizes, student performance, and teacher retention. When our oldest was 4, we toured the school with Miss Mitchell. Around that same time, however, he was diagnosed with sensory processing disorder, so we made the difficult decision to go ahead and homeschool, and we did so kindergarten through 2nd grade. When our 4th child was born, we knew it was time to make that transition from homeschool to public education. So we contacted Miss Mitchell, and she remembered us by name from our visit those years before. She immediately made us feel welcome as part of the Viking family. Our oldest was placed in Miss Phillips' 3rd grade class. And as you know, SPD can make it really, really difficult to take on a transition. It's hard to make those transitions, but somehow she made it seamless for him, and he flourished under the leadership of each one of his teachers his following 3 years. Our second born was diagnosed with ADHD between 2nd and 3rd grade, and I was happily overwhelmed when his teacher team and his counselor, as well as the assistant principal, all gathered together with us to help us navigate this diagnosis. Plans were put in motion to help him be successful in his daily work, his tests, and relationships. They stayed on top of anything that needed to be addressed, and because of this, I believe his experience is one to be treasured. Currently, we have a 1st grader and a 3rd grader at HVE. It is their school, and they're thriving. They want to complete their time there through 5th grade, just like their older siblings. And of course, their older siblings look forward to the day when they can put on their cap and gown and walk those halls again as seniors. I understand that an outsider can look in and think that any school could bring this, but it's not true. Just as each one of us in this room is an individual, each campus is unique, one to the next. There is a reason that HVE is in the top 10 highest performing elementary schools in LISD, and it's truly a gem in our community. As a family of 6, we definitely understand the importance of budget cuts and cutting back on your expenses. However, a hasty decision should not be made at the expense of our children's education, their growth, and their success. Thank you so much for listening.
Thank you. The next speaker, make their way down. Yep.
Good evening. My name is Rachel Halfin, and I have a 6th grader at Briar Hill who is an HVE grad from kinder through 5th, and I have an incoming kindergartner next year. Thank you for taking the time here today. I would like to address 2 important but often overlooked aspects of the impact that school closures have on our community. First, I want to speak about the effect these closures have on dual-income households. When schools close, parents are suddenly forced to juggle the demands of their jobs with the responsibilities of their children's education, an almost insurmountable challenge without substantial support. For many dual-income families, my own included, every paycheck is critical to meeting the basic needs of our households. Given the rising cost of living, I am certain the situation resonates with many in our community. Schools provide more than just an education. They offer a stable, nurturing environment where children are safe, allowing parents the peace of mind to work and contribute to their family's financial well-being. At Higland Village Elementary, a large portion of the student body, including my own son, participated in the extended school day program. When my family was deciding where to purchase our home nearly 7 years ago, our choice was heavily influenced by the strength of the local school district, LISD, and the close-knit nature of this community. A key factor in that decision was the availability of after-school care at HVE. When we first applied for ESD services, there was no wait list, and I was deeply grateful. However, as of today, every elementary school serving Highland Village has a wait list. This brings me to my question for the board. How are families like mine supposed to navigate an increasingly competitive after-school care system, especially when the remaining schools will be tasked with accommodating even more children? There are two potential solutions to this issue. The district could hire additional staff to expand the ESD program and maintain manageable ratios. Parents might be forced to seek care from third-party providers, which is already an option, but one that comes with its own set of challenges. The first option, as we all know, would increase the district's cost, which is something we are working to avoid. The second option shifts the burdens onto already struggling families, many whom face limited access to affordable after-school care providers. Furthermore, these third-party providers often charge significantly higher rates that many families simply cannot afford. Additionally, not every family has the luxury of extended family to help fill the gap, or I'm certain we would already be relying on that support. There is another more intangible but equally significant impact that I want to highlight, the sense of community that our local school fosters. The ability for children at HVE to walk or bike to school creates an environment where families support one another. I was raised by a single mother who often relied on her community to help with logistical challenges of raising children. I remember the mornings when friends would step in to ensure I got to the bus stop when she had to leave for work at 3 a.m. At HVE, we built a similar kind of community, a village that offers emotional and logistical support. It is a diverse group of families, all whom lean on one another when needed. My neighbor has helped bring my son home from school.
Thank you. Speaker 44, make their way. Speaker 43.
Stephanie Chapman. Tonight I'd like to share a personal story about one of our 3 children, our 3 Vikings, and about how the school we love contributed to saving our daughter's life. In March of 2020, I got an urgent call from Nurse Stewart that our daughter Lana, who was 6 at the time, was unresponsive. I rushed to the school and knew something was very wrong when my daughter didn't recognize me. As I walked towards her, she gazed past me as if I were a stranger. My sweet daughter was nonverbal and barely able to sit up and moving abnormally slow. I learned that Lana began having a seizure before I arrived, which left me shocked and confused. Thankfully, the Highland Village firemen arrived quickly due to their proximity to HVE. Lana and I left in the ambulance minutes later. As we neared the hospital, Lana went into a full clonic-tonic seizure for 8 minutes, including Lana's seizure time at school. She had been in a state of seizure for almost 45 minutes. All I could do was pray and hold my daughter's hand. The outpouring of support from the Viking community and the swift response from the Highland Village first responders was life-changing and life-giving. They allowed us to make it through that season and created for a smooth transition for Lana's return to school. We learned through that experience that time is of the essence. Luckily, I was able to get to the school quickly. However, even more importantly, the first responders were able to arrive quickly. If the fire department had been delayed on Justin Road, Lana's life would have been quite different today. Her seizure lasted well over 5 minutes, classifying this as a long-term seizure. Long-term seizures can result in brain cell damage, cognitive impairments, and other neurological issues. I know we are not the first and unfortunately not the last family to experience a need for a quick response from our first responders. On March 11th of 2020, 2 things mattered most: the location of my daughter's school and the traffic patterns on the way to the school. If the number of students in one area drastically is increased, we may be setting ourselves up for a dangerous situation. Please keep our school open so that no child or resident has to wait on first responders to arrive due to the congestion that will be created after LISD places 3,000 plus students in a 0.2-mile radius area. The number 3,000 does not include teachers, administrators, volunteers, parents, residential and commercial traffic. Residents recently voted against increasing the traffic in this very same space, saying no to high-density apartments. Though the city is against a high-density population, the district seems to be forcing it upon us by changing our city's infrastructure in a negative way. Imagine an emergency situation during a student drop-off or dismissal. The traffic patterns on 407 are of utmost importance, not only to our family, but also to the families in our school district, our community, and most importantly, our children. The schools exist to create leaders for tomorrow. Closing Highland Village Elementary will negatively affect our children, our future, their potential needs, and our community. Please save Highland Village Elementary. Thank you.
Thank you. The speaker 45 make their way down. Yep.
My name is Olga Reed. I am the mom of a 6th grader at Briar Hill and a 4th grader at HVE. Thank you for allowing us the time to speak to you today. You have had a front row seat to our disbelief, sadness, and anger over the last month. We are entitled to each of those emotions. We are also entitled to question elected officials as tax-paying citizens. Everything we have done, from speaking with the media to flyers and signs, petitions and shirts, has been to mobilize our community so that you can see that this is not a light you should extinguish or a place that can be replicated. It is to get you to see that we are worth it. I've spent most of my waking hours on this endeavor. As my favorite fictional civil servant Leslie Knope once said, "There is nothing we can't do if we work hard, never sleep, and shirk all other responsibilities in our lives." We have spent the hours poring over data and numbers on the LISD website. We have spent the time comforting our kids. I live a third of a mile from HVE. If you vote to close HVE and I choose to keep my son in LISD for his 5th grade year, we will have to drive to a school that is 3 miles from our house. On our drive, we will pass a school that is 1.9 miles from our house, and we will also pass the shell of the school we actually belong to. If you choose to close HVE, my son and the rest of the kids in his grade will have a traumatic end to their elementary years. We are urging you to slow down for so many reasons, but have you considered that these 4th graders were the kids who started kinder on iPads with masks, crying outside of the school building because parents were not allowed in? They social distanced and did what we asked of them. And for their last year, they will be separated from the staff and friends that define their childhood, not to mention the school traditions and culture they were accustomed to. How will you ensure that this is honored wherever they end up? If the children are really a top priority, how can you reconcile all that you have heard from us over the last month and decide that it is worth $500,000 in savings? As I thought about what I wanted to say tonight, I went back and forth between hammering down on the numbers and all the pieces of data that don't add up, because make no mistake, they don't. Instead, I want to take this time to honor the staff of HVE publicly. Engagement of teachers and students is a direct product of leadership, and no school has better leadership than HVE. Mrs. Mitchell and Ms. Stiglia have modeled to our children resilience, integrity, and that it's okay to cry sometimes. Every single staff member in that building has gone to great efforts to continue to foster learning and safety for our children. Even though they are hurting, they have carried themselves with grace and control, and they deserve better than this. Therefore, this community rallies as you have witnessed firsthand. Please do not alienate us. I commit to you that we will continue to rally for you. We can put this much effort into ensuring that we have the funding to keep rare jewels of schools such as HVE open. LISD can be a beacon and an example to other school districts. You must give up the lie that efficiency is above all else. People are above all else. After all, people make up all 4 of your cornerstones. Thank you.
Thank you. Speaker 46.
Hi, me and my brother will be sharing this time. Hello, my name is Mila Reed. I am a 6th grader at Briar Hill Middle School. In elementary school, I went to HV. My brother is a 4th grader at HV, and if this amazing school were to close down, it would break my heart. HV is a big part of my life and my community. Right now, it is my dream to see my brother go through 5th grade at this amazing school and get to do all the fun things I got to do and have the amazing teachers I had. My life changed in 5th grade. I learned so much, not only in education, but in life. I got braver and stronger at this school. I have a lot of teachers to thank today, but my main one is Ms. Dermeyer. She filled me with so much joy every day I saw her. She trusted me and loved me. I'm so thankful for the teachers like that at HV. I also want to thank all my math teachers at HV for being the loving, understanding teachers that they were and always will be. In math, I always needed extra help, and Miss Fletcher, Miss Bodine, and Miss Beyer always believed that I could do it. And that helped me because now I believe that I can. There are so many more teachers that I want to thank. Kinder through 5th grade were amazing, but I don't want to forget to mention my librarian, Miss Slozek. She was amazing and wonderful. She always made things fun, and she helped me discover my love of reading. 2 more people that I want to thank are my former principal and vice principal. They are so kind and wonderful, and whenever they see a student, they greet them by name and make them feel special. I was so grateful to spend my elementary years at HV. If you were to close the school down, it would break hundreds of hearts, including mine, so please don't close our school.
I am Sawyer, and I love HVE. I saw my sister do so many fun things. For example, the 5th grade walk, something I'll never get to do if you shut HVE down. I know you are going through hard things, but we are going through hard things too. My mom currently went through a surgery, but could still walk to me to school because it's so close to my house. I have had so many amazing teachers, but I only have time to acknowledge two. Mrs. Archer and Miss Robinson. I am a GT kid, and as you probably know, I need an extra challenge, and they gave me just that. All of the teachers I know are amazing, and if you shut down our school, I would be separated from my best friend Delaney, so please don't. Ask yourself this: if you have seen how much the parents, students, staff, and many more love and support HVE, then I don't understand why you would think about closing HVE. And with that, please don't shut HVE down.
Thank you. Speaker 47.
Hello, I'm Samantha Scheider, and I'm a mom to 3 Highland Village Vikings. Every day when they're dropped off at school, they are greeted by name by Mrs. Mitchell, their principal. They walk to class through halls lined with trusted educators they have known since my oldest was 5 years old. I remember being happily shocked that the staff knew my daughter's name and when she would be starting school there, even though she was just a toddler. She was already welcomed into the Viking family. She's now in 1st grade. Teacher retention is important because it can improve the quality of education for students, save money, and create a more stable school environment. 18% of the staff at HVE have been there for over 20 years. According to a study at Vanderbilt, high levels of teacher turnover can make it difficult for schools to create a school climate conducive to student learning because institutional knowledge about students, the curriculum, and school programs is lost when teachers leave a school. That doesn't happen at HVE. I would like to formally acknowledge our staff and how long they've been at Highland Village. Terry Navarro, 24 years, Dawn Slosik, 23 years, Sandra Cazares, 21 years, Shelley Fletcher, 21 years, Michelle Murray, 21 years, Marie Rivera, 21 years, Shanna Murphy, 20 years, Risha Phillips, 20 years, Carrie Pearson, 19 years, Angie Hogan, 16 years, Heather Robinson, 16 years, Amy Collinsworth, 15 years, Leslie Mitchell, 11 years, Melissa Snap, 10 years, Paula Bruner, 8 years, Carol Stewart, 8 years, Megan Bodine, 7 years, Shelley Durmeyer, 7 years, Macrina Kress, 6 years, Leslie Goodrich, 6 years, Amy Cannon, 5 years, Megan Codd, 5 years, Leah Cotton, 5 years, Randy Morgan, 5 years, Cassie Scheibelhut, 5 years. And now for the wonderful staff who have joined HV in the past 5 years: Andre Everett, Jocelyn Maldonado, Lisa Tittle, Sarah Travis, Stacy Archer, Vanessa Diglia, Abby Dubak, Josie Kilgore, Steffi Brulette, Dana Conway, Bonnie Gibson, Dory McLaughlin, Elizabeth Montanero, Haley Pyle, Sarah Regan, Colleen Weaver, Jill Blackwell, Beth Chapin, Katie Dang, and Christina Egan.
Thank you. Will Speaker 50 make their way down?
Good evening. My name is Amanda Nelson, and I have 4 children in the ISD. My oldest is a 7th grader at Briar Hill Middle School, and I have a 5th grader, a 2nd grader, and a kindergartner at Highland Village Elementary. I stand before you not only to fight for my children and their education, but also for the entire HVE faculty that works diligently to provide an exceptional education for all the students. If you would have asked me 3.5 years ago if I would be standing before the school board to fight to keep an elementary school open, you would have been greeted with a laugh. You see, when COVID hit, we pulled all of our kids from the school system and we began our journey homeschooling. We did this not only for their benefit, but also to alleviate the strenuous work environment for teachers. A couple of years ago, we bought a new house in Highland Village and knew going back to public school was an option, but we were skeptical. We grew to value the one-on-one time we had with our children homeschooling, so going back to public school was a very weighty decision for us. One meeting with Mrs. Mitchell and learning about HVE, walking the halls, meeting the teachers was all it took. We knew we found a school for our kids. This wasn't a decision that was taken lightly because this would be a place they would be spending more time at than at home. The academic excellence and people that would be around them, speaking into them on a daily basis mattered. That's why this hits hard for us. This is a perfect example of LISD guiding principle number 1 of student learning. We chose to put our kids in LISD, we chose to remove them, and then we chose exactly which school we wanted them to go back to. Now here we are with that very choice being taken from us. The very school we chose for them to be looking at is being looked at to be closed. I'm curious if you're worried about families leaving the district after closures happen. For my family, that is now at the forefront of our minds again. The next thing I would like to take into consideration is your faculty. You have clearly done an excellent job at finding teachers and support staff because I see it every day at HVE. The principals, teachers, and every single support staff are top-notch. I applaud you on seeking out excellence. But now you are asking them to disperse among other campuses, to fill in the gaps and to make life-changing transitions, not only for their careers, but for their families. The team under Mrs. Mitchell and Ms. Digley is a well-oiled machine. They show up each and every day with joy and smile on their faces. They are a unified team. They have created a respectful and positive culture, and they go above and beyond all that you ask of them. Highland Village Elementary is a school that you want to replicate. This is a perfect example of your guiding principle number 2 of the student experience. It is not a school that you want to disassemble and disperse among LISD to fill in gaps. Why tear apart something that is working so well for the greater good of your school district? The faculty and the community at HVE has changed my homeschooling mama heart to believe in the beauty of public education.
Thank you. Speaker 49. Yep.
Well, I'm going to switch my script up a little bit because I had planned a speech harping on statistics and all the points that we've all made here. So, number one, HVE was a light at the end of the tunnel for my girls as we were on our way to Northwest ISD only 1 year before Brooklyn started kindergarten. As we were introduced to HVE, as you have my documentation and my emails and my personal statement, we fell in love. And as a result of finding HVE, we found Briar Hill and Marcus. So I'm a mom of a second grader at Highland Village Elementary and a freshman at Marcus, as she's sporting her Marcus pride here tonight because she's happy. All right, we had a really rough time with LISD, and as people have mentioned, there could be implications on families leaving the district. That would hurt your enrollment further. Given that you are under your 1% goal in 2 years, I urge you to please delay this decision with legislature coming up, as well as possibly listen to the community here tonight on the reassessments of other options, which you have 3 of my top best ones on your tables right now. I would like to spend the rest of my time talking about the implications of change in a child's life when it comes to school. This is not something that many people know about me, but as an A honor roll student for the majority of my elementary career, I switched schools in my 5th grade year, and I nearly failed. In 6th grade, I had to spend half of that year tutoring. That was totally 100% a cause of traumatic stress from switching schools. Now, I switched to a great school, was a wonderful community, one of the best ones where I'm from in Easley, South Carolina. However, I was just another kid to them. So while we have wonderful schools in Highland Village Elementary, imagine our school report card and ratings, just all of those kids who have wonderful grades right now and the stress that it's going to cause on them and how awful it's going to affect them regardless of who else they may know at McAuliffe or Heritage and the teachers. They're going to not be with their same teachers, friends, family. Their entire lives will change. So you have my statistics, my data, counter proposals. That is my implication on change speech from a personal experience. Thank you.
Thank you. Yep. The next speaker make their way.
Good evening, everyone. First, I want to thank you for taking the time to come here to listen to our concerns. My name is Molly Gwynn, and I am the parent of 3 current Highland Village Vikings. The business of a public ISD, of a public school, is education. This is something that Highland Village has been doing to the highest standard across the board by every measuring stick you can give them. They are in the top 10 elementary schools in LISD, and out of all of the elementary schools in Texas, they are in the top 6%. I understand that academic growth and test scores were not taken into account when the CEC was evaluating schools for retirement, but as a parent, I strongly believe that should have been. As I said, I have 3 students at Highland Village Elementary, a 5th grader, 3rd grader, and a kindergartner. I have seen my daughters grow in confidence in their academic abilities and watch them be supported through hard times and tough days. When I was questioning whether my neurodivergent son was ready for a public kindergarten classroom, I was supported by the administrators, the fabulous speech-language pathologist, and amazing teachers at HVE telling me that he was more than ready and they would love and carry him through that transition. I'm so happy to say that he is a thriving Hogan's honeybee, and I couldn't be more grateful that I listened to these amazing educators. I asked each of my kids what their favorite things about HVE are, and these are their answers. Nora, 5th grade, my teachers, my friends, that the schools teaches us to find our own adventures and helps us make our dreams come true. Maddie, everything, because everybody is so nice and I love everything about HVE. James, Mrs. Hogan. Fiscal literacy is not my strong suit, so I can't speak on the budget issues the district is currently facing. I know this has not been an easy process for anyone at the district, but I believe that closing a school that is not only high-performing academically, but one that fosters a culture of inclusion and love of learning would be a mistake. Thank you again for your time tonight and giving us parents a chance to use our voices to fight for our school and our children. Life is always good at HVE.
Thank you. Will Speaker 51 make their way?
Good evening. My name is Jordan Zongle. My son Landon is a kindergartner at HVE, and he gets up every morning excited to go to Miss Cannon's class, which is not something that I thought would happen when the school year first began for him. I was going to dig a little bit into the financial metrics and the efficiencies, but I think those points have been articulated pretty well here tonight, so I won't do that. But I do want to further reinforce how I believe it would be short-sighted and irresponsible to make decisions on closing campuses before the upcoming legislative session in January. And I think it would also be in direct conflict with these listening sessions and taking everyone's thoughts and opinions into account to do it before that. Principal Mitchell, the staff, the students, and the community at Highland Village are absolutely second to none. We've fallen in love with them. We're a transfer, and getting into this school has been such a blessing for our family and our son. There are so many things that are difficult and sort of wrong with a public education in Texas, but Highland Village Elementary is something that is right with education in Texas, and that should be an example that we follow and try to emulate instead of closing it and saying that there's a different way to do it because it saves a few bucks. So thank you to the board for listening to us, and thank you to everybody here tonight for fighting for our school. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Will Speaker 52 make their way down? Miss.
Good evening. My name is Carly Beagle. I have 2 kids attending HVE and one who attended kinder through 5th. They are 3rd-generation Vikings. Prior students are moving here just so their children can attend this amazing school. The culture and teachers are phenomenal. Breaking up the staff will cost the district several remarkably talented teachers. This is not only unfair to our students, but to the teachers who have worked endlessly and who have been loyal to your district. You say that they will have a job with an LISD. What exactly does that mean to you? Will they get to choose the school, grade, and subject that they will teach? Will they move where other teachers for more preferable schools or positions to make room for our HVE teachers? Or will they get the short end of the stick and get placed wherever there is space for them? I fear that it is the latter. With a significant shortage in teachers, retention and job satisfaction must be considered. Several schools rated less effective than Highland Village Elementary, so I am still puzzled how we are here. It is disappointing when the CEC data doesn't match the proposals. We are well below the 1% deficit goal ahead of schedule. Why are we making permanent decisions now? Why not wait until after school vouchers and increasing school funding has been discussed? This doesn't just appear rushed, it is. Enrollment is down partially due to housing prices in this area. How does it make sense to close the schools closest to the most affordable housing? This is counterproductive for young families with children who cannot afford a $3,000 mortgage payment in Highland Village and value living close to the elementary schools. Retiring Highland Village would impact the city heavily, as it is much smaller than the other cities LISD serves. This is on top of the devastating impact it would have on home values, specifically for those who paid well over asking price to live close to this school. The neighborhood Highland Village serves is full of starter homes. Currently, they may be occupied by an older population, but this will obviously change with time. Enrollment issues may see an even bigger increase within this school district if vouchers are passed, as many may choose to pull their students from LISD, feeling that their voices weren't heard in this process and they were robbed of their school choice. We chose a small neighborhood school that fits our values, one that has smaller class sizes, one where the principal knows every student's name and family, one that is within walking distance and a safe community, one that is family, not just a school, one that loves our children. If we wanted our children packed into a crowded campus, we would have picked one and enrolled in one. I am not okay being forced into a larger school that doesn't fit our values. This is personal. I urge you to reconsider your 4 guiding principles. Retiring schools partially meets resource stewardship while disregarding the other 3. I would argue that it doesn't even meet that, as the schools, teachers, and communities are all resources that you are disregarding. All of this frustration and disappointment over less than a 1% deficit. Stop focusing on the money and prioritize our students. Choose another solution.
Thank you. Speaker 53, please make their way. Speaker 52.
Hello, my name is April, and I'm in 4th grade. I don't want you to close HVE. I love the teachers. They are so kind, and I'm comfortable with them. They make me feel safe, and I will miss them so much if you close my school. Also, I don't want you to leave my friends. They are so nice and make me feel included at my school. Fun Arts do special things like choir, safety patrol, and behind-the-scenes crew. I feel safe at my school, and I am happy there are small classrooms because I can get help from my teacher when I need it. If I move school, I would be unfamiliar with everything, and I would be uncomfortable. If there were too many kids in one classroom, I would feel like I am not there at all. I walk to school almost every day with my Mimi and Papa. They also walk me home. How will I get this special time with them if the school closes? Please, I beg you to think about the kids like me who will be displaced and feel lost. Please do not close my school.
Speaker 53. Would Speaker 54 please make their way to the mic?
I'm here to talk about the school's deficit because you all have 2 pieces of land that are behind on Dickerson, behind this school, one that's been sitting for 20 years, of a tennis court that's never been used. Not once. You have taxed our houses for 20 years, and then you decided, oh, everybody can have the taxes free. You voted to have the taxes in this area in Highland Village reduced, but you didn't tell us in the vote that, and this was just in March, that meant that your district would lose money. That's where the money went. That's why you don't have the money, is because you reduced the taxes on the houses that we all bought. I moved from Carrollton out of your district over to here to Highland Village because it was an excellent school. My kids are now graduates and married. They went through Highland Village. Those same teachers are still there. They're still teaching there. They also went all the way to UNT. You graduate your students from LISD at UNT. That land was bought to build a new stadium for them to graduate. You never built it. It took you 4 years to build the high school, this high school's Marcus football field. My kids never got to see it. They were supposed to have been in it. You took 4 years to build this black box back there. My kids never got to be in it. They were supposed to be in it. You waste the money. You wasted that field. You wasted that tennis court. You changed everything, and you wonder why there's no money. But you also don't just affect these people in this area. My kids went there. We paid for it. I moved here. You also affect all of the shops of Highland Village when you start changing schools and closing schools in this area, which means it will also affect all the workers that work in Highland Village shops of Highland Village. You turned around and didn't want all those the apartments there, but yet you want to shove all of our kids in a school that you don't even have a second route out of that school for emergencies, for anything, and that is Heritage. And it will block up everything. That is why the apartments weren't built there either, because people didn't want that. That's why the apartments weren't built in the shops of Highland Village where the theater is, because we didn't want all that extra traffic even up there. You need to really think about where you're putting your money at. You have the money. You have the money to keep all 5 schools open. Sell that land.
So, thank you. Would Speaker 55 please make their way?
Hi, good evening. My name is Vanessa Gagne, and I'm here today on behalf of my family and all those who, like us, are deeply concerned about the potential closure of HVE. It is my job to testify on behalf of my clients to governmental bodies. I never thought it would bring me to my own home community defending my children's school. My daughters, Celeste in 2nd grade and Lydia in 4th, attend HVE, and we've seen firsthand the transformative power of this exceptional school. We originally enrolled our daughters in private school, but sought a more well-rounded education and community. After touring HVE, we knew we'd found something special, a true hidden gem. Since transferring, we've witnessed remarkable growth in our girls. They've become more confident, better at taking direction from different authority figures, and more emotionally intelligent. The unparalleled love and support from the staff have been instrumental in this development. Highland Village Elementary is more than just a school. It's the heart of our community. Many of us attend the same churches, sports teams, and clubs, fostering a unique sense of connection and shared investment. Closing the school would not only deprive our children of an excellent education, but also fracture the fabric of our community. If the building were to be vacated, I urge the board to explore alternatives that would prevent it from becoming a target for crime or vandalism. Could it be repurposed, leased, or even sold? I implore the board to keep Highland Village Elementary open, explore reallocation of funds, partnerships, or other creative solutions. Our children, our community, and the very spirit of public education depend on it. In closing, I leave you with the words of our founding father, John Adams. The whole people must take upon themselves the education of the whole people and must be willing to bear the expenses of it. There should not be a district of 1 mile square without a school in it, not founded by a charitable individual, but maintained at the expense of the people themselves. They must be taught to reverence themselves instead of adoring their servants, their generals, admirals, bishops, and statesmen. Thank you.
Thank you. Will Speaker 56 make their way?
Good evening. My name is Casey Foreman. I have 2 children at Highland Village Elementary School. I, too, am an LISD lifer. I went to Lakeland and DeLay and Louisville, and we came back to put our kids back in the LISD. I can think of so many reasons not to close the school. Those have been put before you tonight. The negative impact on the greater community, the loss of the unique school community, the impacts on the students. For me specifically, the separation of my son from his developing friendships. He's in 2nd grade. Those came for him after a long 15-month period where he sat at home bored during the pandemic, watching YouTube and waiting for us to be able to pay attention to him. The negative impacts on the social programs and those who need them, the special education and the big programs, the overcrowding in the remaining schools, the decreased trust in the LISD, which people have outlined tonight, the impacts that may have, the reduced property values, the disparate impacts on the affordable neighborhoods and the feeder patterns, the loss of the consistently academically high-performing school, the unclear advantage of doing so, as has been mentioned tonight. If you save $2.5 million by closing the 5 schools, it's not clear where that other $2 million is coming from, and frankly, I would hate to think that our schools were closed in vain. I would also like to just mention the access to ESD. We are also a family that depends on that, and if we're rezoned, we're going to need it even more. So we want to make sure that that program is able to expand to the extending schools, to those schools, that there's space for them, and that we have the opportunity to participate there. I don't see the need to close any of these schools, including HVE, and I don't see the reason to do it on the rushed timeline. The data shows a district-wide loss of closer to 15%, not 30. The 30 appears to be derived from the optimal capacity, which the district has never operated at. The projected loss between 2024 and 2020, and 24-25 and 32-33, for the entire Marcus feeder pattern is 110 students, a decline of 1.3%. Neighboring school districts have closed schools and done so in the face of far greater budget deficits and far greater percentage of their budget. This isn't even 1% of the district's yearly budget. There are alternatives to shuttering the school that people have already mentioned, And HVE is the second lowest operating cost in the entire LISD, and there are neighborhoods close to it that could easily be rezoned and therefore bring the operating cost per student down. I would just urge the board to consider all four cornerstones and the larger impacts of its decisions as it undertakes its considerations. Thank you.
Thank you. The speaker 57, please make their way.
Good evening. My name is Matt Enslin. That was my wife, and I can't argue with her. The only thing I'll repeat here from what I've said in the past is that the values used to assess schools simply don't align with those of your electorates or the district's own. The litmus test for this is how this discussion's going, or perhaps that you aren't comfortable having a two-way conversation in a public venue like this. That's what we all hoped this would be originally. I told you all I work in architecture and community planning. My passion for that is homegrown right down the street at LHS. My wife and I returned here seeking academics and community we already knew. It's very discomforting to all of us that academic performance is not a part of this discussion. But to my own passion, I can't stress enough how important the community center is, especially when neighborhood streets, 7 in HVE's case, have a direct connection to the school. Every home on these streets has a direct walking or biking path to HVE, and the networks of streets in Old Highland Village are planned around the school such that half the city can walk to it. You will not find that level of connection in most of our 40 elementary schools. I know because I've looked at all 40, and I'll send you a graphic on that. This is how cities were planned before zoning allowed developers to place homes on an eighth an acre instead of a quarter, and new subdivisions were planned that relegated schools' exterior with limited connections, driving assumed for most. Yes, our kids can wait for a bus, or my wife and I can drive 10 minutes opposite our commutes, then 10 minutes back. That's sure not stewardship of your community's time and talent. It's also a dent in our quality of life. It's also throwing away a school that is what a school should be to its community. Why not move more students into excellence, even if it means pathing some kids to another high school? The high schools aren't full. Why abandon excellence? Let's give opportunity. And the building itself, a substantial renovation occurred around 10 years ago that negated the 43-year age label, making the major building systems and finishes younger than most schools in the district. I don't know who knows this school was re-bricked. We don't do that in my profession. It costs too much money. There may be no other re-bricked buildings in Denton County and only a few in the state. The taxpayers, your electorate have paid for this. We don't want to see our investment go to waste, especially at the peril of our kids and community. The site of HVE would be a constant reminder. Also, 2 schools don't have the capacity for our students. The changing optimal capacity is suspicious, and my professional building planning experience is sounding sirens. Optimal capacity is based on efficiency here, and efficiency won't be comfortable. In closing, a question for you all. Do you all understand personally what it's like to have a school so physically integrated to your community? I'm sorry if you haven't lived HVE or a similar experience, but please don't take it away from us. Old Highland Village still deserves the heart of our community. Thank you.
Thank you. Would Speaker 58 please make their way?
Hi, my name is Michael Walter. I have 3 kids at Highland Village Elementary and 1 future Viking. This is our family's 2nd year at Highland Village Elementary. We came from a school that had a lot of turnover in leadership, and because of that, much of the staff left as well. Each year, our kids dealt with transition that made it more difficult to get in a good rhythm and to settle in. All of that changed when we enrolled in Highland Village. This school truly has a unique environment where staff and students really do know each other and care for each other. Mrs. Mitchell and Mrs. Diglia have done a meticulous job of putting an excellent staff together and creating an environment that teachers desire to work in. We did not experience this at our previous school, and it led to massive amounts of students leaving that school to go other places. With the proposal you are considering of closing Highland Village, one of the strongest and healthiest schools in your district, you run the risk of creating the same issues we encountered at our previous school that led to many families finding other options for education. You are trying to look at things objectively and make things fair across the board, which I understand, but to not consider the health and effectiveness of the school and its staff as a cohesive unit would be extremely negligent in your decision process, and you run the risk of losing students, which is exactly what you are currently trying to avoid. One of our daughters fell behind when she was at our previous school, and the staff at Highland Village has helped her to catch up and grow so much. She got lost in the large class sizes at her old school and is now doing so well with the guidance of her teachers and Mrs. Travis. Despite her learning challenges, she always wants to be at school right when the doors open and absolutely loves Highland Village. She truly feels safe and at home at HVE, and our fear is that our daughter and children like her who have thrived in this smaller learning environment will get lost in the shuffle of a larger school setting. Being at a school in our community has been really special for our children. Our previous school had a commuter feel to it, so we lost the uniqueness of being at a school within our neighborhood. Now our kids play at the park right next to Highland Village Elementary every afternoon when they get out with a lot of kids from the school. In a time when kids are more and more isolated due to technology, social media, and other influences, the fact that they love this time just being outside with their friends is something special and something that you would be taking away from them if they no longer went to the school in our neighborhood. I would ask that you consider the overall health and effectiveness of Highland Village Elementary and not just arbitrarily make decisions based off of a chart. You are not being honest with yourself if you think you can just redistribute the staff elsewhere and create the same environment and success that HVE has experienced. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you. The next speaker, please make their way.
Good evening. My name is Christelle Wiltshire. I'm a proud parent of a 3rd grader at Highland Village Elementary, a 6th grader at Briar Hill, and a 2-year-old that I'm hoping to be a Viking in the future. We are new residents of Highland Village as of 4 months ago. When we were looking to build our house, a neighborhood school like Highland Village Elementary was one of the top 3 reasons why we chose to live in Highland Village. Our girls previously went to a private school, and we wanted them to be in a school that was intimate, community-oriented, and most of all, to get a great education with teachers that are invested in their students. Our 3rd grader tells me at least once a week she loves her school being close to our house and is happy she is there because the teachers are so nice and she loves her new friends. In addition to the reputation of education excellence that Highland Village Elementary provides, Highland Village Elementary is a huge impact on the community of Highland Village. To give you a recent example of the closeness that the school has to the community is what they did for Officer Harney. When the news of Officer Harney broke when he went to the hospital, the very next morning the school was wrapped in red ribbon to show support of Officer Harney and his family. Within the week, you can see the red ribbon spread throughout the community of Highland Village on neighbors' trees and houses to show support for the Harney family. I can't tell you how many times I cried driving down Selmeyer, being proud of the community that I now live in, and bless the people that put the red ribbons around our school to show the community Highland Village Elementary needed the support for this family. I am asking you, please do not retire Highland Village Elementary. Not only will you be taking a wonderful school from children to thrive in, but you will also be taking a part of Highland Village's chance to thrive as a community that we can be proud of. Thank you.
Thank you. Will speaker 60 make their way?
Hi, my name is Phil Rogers, and I've heard a lot of stories here tonight from a lot of people I recognize walking to school. My wife and I have lived in Highland Village for 20 years, and we live on Selmeyer and Merriman. So we see a lot of them come and go as the kids get older. But the key here tonight is I don't think this board has done enough study. Have you done a traffic study on Briar Hill Lane? Have you done a traffic study on what's going to happen at Heritage? Because I see the traffic that's up and down that street every day, and now each and every one of them are going to have to drive to one of those schools. Right now, I see the kids walking. I would say probably 30 to 40% of that school walks to school. And the rest of it now, 100% is going to have to drive. The other thing, too, is the home values. The home values in Highland Village, I talked to a realtor, and she had looked around and called around. The home values in Highland Village estates are going to drop anywhere from $50,000 to $100,000. That's a lot of money that you're going to be affecting people's lives. So you might get more students, but I think this has all been done in haste. From everything I hear, I heard on Halloween night from people trick-or-treating in my house about it. That's no way to go about closing a school. It should at least be a one-year process. And you have legislation coming up, and there's a lot of other things. Has the cost of maintaining an empty building been put into your budget? Because I guarantee you it's going to be close to $100,000 a year to maintain that school that's empty. That we worry about cost per student, there's going to be a cost, and it needs to be added to the other students. That's all 5 of the schools. but this one specifically carried Highland Village from its inception. Highland Village this elementary was designed for Highland Village. But each time there was a new school built, the redistricting or reassessment happened. Why would people cross all the way across Highland Village Road to go all the way up to McAuliffe that live in the Lakeland area, south of us? That's a lot closer. Oh, it was because they built a new school and they had to fill it. And I know this firsthand from an assistant superintendent who was in this school district for many, many years. And I asked him, why did they keep pulling people out of the Highland Village area, elementary area, to go over there? Well, some of it was...
Thank you. Would speaker 61 please make their way down to the microphone?
Good evening, Dr. Rapp and board members. My name is Brenna Ballman. Today I'm going to tell you all about what I love about my school. I love that HVE has wonderful, and I mean wonderful teachers. One thing good about the teachers is they make lessons fun. The teachers also help with front issues by talking to each one of us in private, and after that, it's all better. Miss Diglia and Miss Mitchell greet me and my sister in the morning with a hug and a smile. They also are good at making kids who are in a mood happy. My counselor is also great because if I ever have problems, I always feel comfortable telling her. My favorite thing about HVE is probably how safe I feel, because I would not enjoy school if I didn't feel safe. That's also why I don't want to go to another school. One of my best memories at HVE is probably when in 3rd grade, I got to hang out with my friends and watch a movie while eating a bowl of ice cream because we passed our scoops test. My main purpose is that I've been at this school since kindergarten. Now I'm in 4th grade, and my sister is in kindergarten, and I would hate to find out my school is closing. Plus, I don't think I'll fit in as well in another school. Thank you for listening to my speech, and have a good evening.
Thank you. I'll give you some transition time.
Sorry.
Speaker 61.
Thank you. Good evening, Dr. Rapp and board members. My name is Julie Ballman, and my husband and I are the proud parents of Brenna, who just spoke, and Dylan, who are both students at Highland Village Elementary. I was planning to discuss the rush timeline for these decisions you are making, but after some thought, I decided to begin my 3 minutes with a thank you. Thank you for providing my children with yet another learning experience. We've learned so much about this process in our school over the past few weeks, and I would like to share with you a few things that my children have learned. We have learned what it means to advocate for things you believe in. We believe in the quality of education and the culture and learning environment at HVE. We believe that if something is important, that we will not sit idly, but we will fight for it in a respectful way. We believe HVE is worth this battle. 2, just because we see things differently from others does not mean we cannot come together to find a solution to our problems. Thinking creatively and collaboratively often leads to new ideas and resolutions. The amazing PTA, reasons that we all have these purple shirts, has come together and rallied the troops so quickly and is a prime example of this, and they should be very proud of their work. 3, the importance of communication. How to write and articulate our thoughts on these previous 2 points. I am beyond proud of my daughter's speech. And how to listen and understand the feelings of others, i.e. our friends, family, community, as well as the board and Dr. Rapp. We also learned how to approach our neighbors, friends, and families and let them know about our beliefs and causes, i.e. we promoted the petition on Halloween when we were trick-or-treating. We also learned to speak up respectfully when we see an injustice. We have also learned, 4, how lucky we are to be surrounded by the people in this room, our village. This process has revealed to us yet again why we love our school. The people here are not going to give up on our children. The transparent part in all this is how much each and every one in Highland Village believes this school is more than just a school. It is a place where children grow into integral people in the community. It sets an example of what a superior public school should be. These students are now equipped with these lessons, and from this, they have learned we aren't going to be silenced. We are going to continue to show up in our purple shirts and in your inboxes in support of HVE, its students, its staff, and its faculty. Clearly, I know what it's like to be the little guy, to be underestimated and pushed around, but HVE has taught us all something about being the little guy. The most important thing that my children can learn over and over again, and that is how to be brave, how to speak up even when you feel like no one is listening, and to keep fighting for what's important.
Thank you. That concludes all the speakers who signed up to speak tonight. I want to say a special thank you to everyone who spoke or submitted comments tonight. Your input is greatly appreciated by the board as we move forward. I understand that you want to hear from the board, and you will have that opportunity on December 2nd during our work session. Please note this will be a regular work session where there will be discussion among board members on agenda items and not a dialogue with the community. Thank you so much for being respectful throughout this process. Nobody wants to close schools, and we understand that everybody loves their school. We aim as a board to make decisions with the best interest of the whole district in mind. And with that, if there is no further business, this meeting is adjourned at 8:50 p.m. Have a pleasant evening.